Accompanying the commission are
All right, viewers, just in a short while, the Election Commission is going to announce the dates for the three states of Meghalaya, Nagaland and Tripura, all set to go to elections over the course of the next month and a half. Now, this comes a week after the EC team visited the three election-bound states. The term of all three assemblies is ending in March. Different dates, but in March. The BJP had won 33 seats in the 2018 Tripura elections and came to power after overthrowing the CPIM. Biplab Dev became the chief minister then. The Congress and the left parties are now planning to form an alliance to counter the BJP this year in the state, which is the state of Tripura. But when you put the focus on the state of Meghalaya, the National People's Party alliance with the BJP came to power. The Congress was in the opposition, winning 21 seats. However, with a coup of sorts, the entire opposition of the Congress defected to the TMC as well. The TMC looking to make massive gains in Meghalaya. It's a trial by fire for the TMC in the state. Meanwhile, in Nagaland, United Democratic Alliance had come to power with the support of NDPP, BJP and NPF parties. There is no opposition currently where Nagaland is concerned. When it comes down to an actual Game of Thrones kind of match, it would be the state of Meghalaya, which would be keenly watched, followed by Tripura. While Nagaland, with no clear opposition, it seems to be an easy lay of land where politics is concerned. All right, viewers, we are expecting the Election Commission to announce the dates shortly. There's a bit of an audio connect, which the press conference that we're getting in, we're going to try and rectify that, viewers. But the three states kickstart a 9-state election year in 2023. Nagaland, Meghalaya, all three go to vote over the course of the next 1 month. There was 3 northeastern states will hold elections. This, of course, follows the elections in Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh as well, and, of course, the MCD elections, out of which there will be the BMC elections, which will also be taking place, possibly before these 3 states go to vote. Well, to get our viewers up to speed, out of the 3 northeastern states, the BJP secured a thumping victory in Tripura, but the governments in Meghalaya and Nagaland resulted from political maneuvering. And believe me, viewers, a lot of political maneuvering when it comes down to that. With Tripura, the assembly elections in February 2018, if you remember, was significant in many, many ways. This was after the West Bengal victory. This was the country's only state ruled by the left front for 25 years in a row. Manik Sarkar was the man, the chief minister, but he failed to come back to power. The BJP won 35 seats, surpassing the magic figure of 31 required for majority. The left at that time in Tripura was practically reduced to just 16. On the other hand, which we just highlighted, in Meghalaya, the Congress was the principal opposition, and in what clearly was an overnight coup of sorts by the TMC, the entire opposition defected to the TMC. For TMC, this would be trial by fire where Meghalaya is concerned. If the TMC is to come to the national politics as a front runner going up to 2024, or possibly wanting to be a part or the fulcrum for opposition unity, that it needs to make and show massive gains in the states of Tripura and Meghalaya. What we are getting to understand that the TMC is going all in where Meghalaya is concerned. I'll quickly bring in our panelists while we try and rectify our audio. Let's see if it's come back. To be a bit of an audio problem, but I'll bring in Rajdeep Sardesai and Rahul Srivastava, both who are joining us for the latest there. Rajdeep, out of the 3 states where dates be announced shortly from now, which is that one state you're going to keenly watch, and why?
Well, I think 2 states, Tripura and Meghalaya, for very different reasons. Meghalaya, because it appears that Mamata Banerjee's national ambitions were stymied after what happened in Goa last year. She tried to expand beyond Bengal and it didn't work out. Now her focus is on Meghalaya. In fact, as we speak, she's addressing a rally this evening in Meghalaya, because the Trinamool Congress believes that having taken away most of the Congress flock from it in Meghalaya, they can emerge as one of the challengers to the NPP of Conrad Sangma in Meghalaya. So for Mamata Banerjee, Meghalaya important. Tripura important both for the left and Congress. Can they work together and actually form some kind of an alliance specific to the state and actually take on the BJP there? There is a possibility, given the left's base, traditional base in Tripura. Can the Congress and the work together with the left at the local level and do in Tripura
I'm
what
going
they
to come
could
in,
not
and the
achieve
reason
in
I'm
Bengal?
coming in is that the Election Commission PC press conference has just about started. Coming right back to you after that. Listen in, viewers.
The ECI, friends from the media, and before starting this press conference, as you all know, this is the first press conference in this year. So we want to wish you a very happy new year, and also that during the year we would keep meeting more often. This is just the beginning of the elections during 2023. तो लगातार आपसे मिलते रहेंगे. And happy beginning for the voters of Tripura, Meghalaya and Nagaland to join in the festival of democracy. Greetings to the voters of these three states. As you may be aware, the term of legislative assemblies of the three states of Nagaland, Meghalaya and Tripura are respectively coming to an end on 12 March, 15 March, 22 March. तीनों assemblies का जो term है वो इस दिन खत्म हो रहा है. The three states have 60 assembly constituencies each. Nagaland has 59 STs and just one general. Meghalaya 57 STs and 5 general, whereas Tripura has 30 general, 10 SCs and 20 STs. So friends, women participation in these three states in the earlier elections has been higher than the male participation. So it's a very happy trend to report to you. While each election has its own set of challenges, and despite difficult terrains in these three states have set this example of, as you are seeing, a female voter turnout of 86% as against 81% of male in Nagaland, 87% as against 83% in Meghalaya, and 91% in Tripura as against 87% in Tripura. तो इन सभी राज्यों में महिलाओं की भागीदारी वोटिंग में ज़्यादा रही है और ये विषय हम पूरे देश के समक्ष भी रखना चाहते हैं ताकि दिस इज़ अ गोल टू एस्पायर फॉर अस एंड ऑल्सो ऑल आर प्राउड वीमेन वोटर्स ऑफ द कंट्री. And not only the participation, their number also in the electoral roll is higher. This is also another very interesting thing in this case of these three states. All the 60 general assemblies, general assembly constituencies would go to the poll in these three states. As you all know, these three states have the terrain related challenges, but Commission is committed to ensure the free, fair, participative, accessible and ethical elections in these three states. Friends, we recently visited these three states from 11th of January to 15th of January and met all the district collectors, SPs, senior police officers, CS, DG, all the enforcement agencies. So we want to report back to you what is the feedback and how would we tackle this. Let me in the beginning mention that all over the country there are only few states जहां अब प्री पोल, ड्यूरिंग द पोल और पोस्ट पोल वायलेंस बची है. अभी आपने पीछे 2 इलेक्शंस देखे, कोई वायलेंस नहीं थी. उससे पहले भी 5 इलेक्शन, उससे पहले भी 5 इलेक्शन देखे, देयर वाज नो वायलेंस. इट्स ओनली इन 2-3 स्टेट्स of the entire country which is left, and Commission is committed with the help of the district administration, district magistrates, SPs. We have told them very, very clearly that the society should have zero tolerance for any kind of violence during the elections. Actually, लोकतंत्र में हिंसा का कोई स्थान नहीं है और हम कमिटेड हैं कि इस राज्यों में भी इस तरीके से आगे बढ़ेंगे. If I show you the electors related profile, Nagaland has in all the state specific details are here and would be shared with you all. But अगर टोटल देखें तो तीनों राज्यों में मिला के जो आपके सामने में फिगर है उसके अनुसार मेल फीमेल फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स, पीडब्ल्यूडी वोटर्स, 80 वोटर्स, सेंटेनेरियन वोटर्स, ये सबकी फिगर आपके समक्ष है. जो एसएसआर का कार्य था वो 5 जनवरी को पूरा हो गया है और लिस्ट पब्लिश कर दी गई है एंड ऑल ओवर द कंट्री इंक्लूडिंग दीज 3 स्टेट्स, एंड copies have also been given to the polling parties. There are 2.28 lakh voters who have been added in these 3 states, and as per the roll published, there are 97,000 voters who are 80 plus, and there are 31,700 voters who are PWDs, and 100 plus voters number is 2,600, and we have given great emphasis for inclusion of these voters. सभी डीओस को इंस्ट्रक्शंस दी गई हैं कि इन सब के वोट्स लेने के लिए फॉर्म 12D के माध्यम से जो व्यवस्था है, अगर वो लोग पोलिंग स्टेशन पे किसी कारणवश नहीं आ सकते तो जरूर वोट दिलवाएं. देयर आर मोर देन 1.6 lakh voters who are 18 to 19 years as per the SSR. And friends, as I mentioned in one of the conferences earlier also, we have enabled these 17 plus voters, those who are of 17 years age and not yet 18, to give us advance applications, so that उनकी applications को हम अपने पास रखें प्रोसेस करके, और जैसे ही वो 18 साल के हों उनको हम वोटर कार्ड दे दें, साथ में एक वेलकम किट दे दें. So you would be happy to know that approximately 10,000 youths have registered with us in these 3 states who are between 17 to 18 years. So these 3 states, 62.8 lakh voters combinedly are ready to go to vote, and we request all of them to participate in the elections ethically, freely, and in large numbers. If we come to the polling stations accordingly, how do we conduct this in how many polling stations? The total number of polling stations, state-wise list is here to you, the bifurcation which you can use, which we will put it on our website and social media also, so that you can use these charts. 9,125 polling stations, and these are 634 more than 2018. Because of the geography of these states, it's around 82% in the rural areas. And we have mandated that 50% of the polling stations would be webcasted. In this case, the arrangements have been made for 73% webcasting of 73% polling stations across these 3 states. Friends, our emphasis now, after I covered the roll part of it, so now from roll to poll. So as I mentioned earlier also, our basic contact with the voters is twofold. At the time of registering them, that is getting entry into the roll, and then at the time of polling. So roll I mentioned recently, just in the briefing. The polling part I will mention now. How do we make their polling easy and a and a kind of a festive? So in these states, there would be 376 polling stations, which would just be managed by our women officers, including the women police personnel. So entire booth, including the security, would be managed by the women staff. And similarly, PWDs will manage the polling stations, and there would be model polling stations which would also have some kind of environmental friendly material used inside. और मॉडर्न पोलिंग स्टेशंस में बहुत प्रयास लोग कर रहे हैं अच्छा करने का. कहीं पर क्रैच भी बना रहे हैं ताकि जो महिला मतदाता आते हैं बच्चों को साथ में लेके, तो वो भी उनको they feel a very kind of a congenial environment to vote. As you might recall, we have also started a practice to encourage our youth who are not so much into, there is some kind of youth apathy which we are struggling with. तो हमने जो हमारे यंग एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं उनके माध्यम से भी जो अभी अभी रिक्रूट हुए हैं, ये गुजरात और हिमाचल में भी ये प्रक्रिया अपनाई थी, अब उसको आगे बढ़ाते हुए यहाँ भी बूथ्स जो है वो यंग एम्प्लॉयज़ के द्वारा मैनेज होंगे. Needless to say that in all the polling stations we will have 100% assured minimum facilities, which include, all of them are ground floor. There would be ramp, there would be accessible, there would be water, there would be electricity, there would be toilet, and there would be a volunteer to help our PWD voters and also our senior citizens. Again, needless to say that if somebody has by chance does not have EPIC card, any of these 12 documents can be used. We are just showing it to you so that you can popularize them, put them on through your mediums also. As usual, we would like to again mention you that we salute our heroes of democracy. These are our 80 plus and 100 plus voters. And to give you a glimpse of the beautiful states of Tripura, Meghalaya and Nagaland, these are our old voters, very respected voters, very happy voters. It's a very happy feeling to talk to them whenever we go. And the form 12D would be available to them in these 3 states also from the 5th day onwards after nomination. And as usual, our entire team will go and take their vote with a full security, in which the polling parties will go and the polling agents of the candidates would also be allowed to accompany. Again, this would be applicable to 2600 100 plus of our centenarian voters. The candidates or their agents would all go together, can go accompany to the house of the voter so that there is no allegation of any compromise. Just to mention here, fake news थोड़ा फैलाने वाले भी नए नए तरीके ढूंढते हैं. तो अभी पिछले इलेक्शन में एक एक्सपीरियंस आया था कि किसी ने कहा एक कमरे में बूथ बना के और एक वीडियो चलाई कि ये वोटर्स को ओल्ड एज के कंप्रोमाइज हो गया, वोट कोई और डाल रहा है. तो इंक्वायरी कराई तो पता लगा कि वो तो कोई और जगह थी. तो हमने इसके लिए एक नया और रास्ता निकाला है. वो जैसे जैसे नए तरीके ढूंढते हैं हम भी काउंटर करते हैं. तो हमारा तरीका निकाला है कि जो भी घर में जाएंगे, अब जो पोलिंग कंपार्टमेंट सेट करेंगे उसमें असेंबली नंबर भी लिखा रहेगा स्टिकर के रूप में, सो दैट कोई अगर फेक चलाने की कोशिश भी करता है तो एटलीस्ट वो एक ही जगह का होगा. पूरे उसमें तो हमें मालूम ही नहीं हुआ कि किस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी की बात कर रहे हैं. सो नाउ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी नंबर and booth number will also be pasted on the compartment so that we are sure that there is no fakeness into this, if at all there is a photo. So there would be a sticker attached to this. Friends, there would be 31,700 PWD voters. And these, as I mentioned, they also have the same facility. Ramps are being constructed. And another thing which we want to report to you, we are making another effort. The drinking water, electricity, ramp, why not get them permanently in these schools through the medium of our elections? So we are insisting everywhere that please do not create temporary facilities to the extent possible. In any case, let this be a gift to the schools from the election process, that they get separate toilets for boys and girls, electricity, furniture, and the ramp for the students who could be otherwise suffering, having any kind of disability. So budgets are being sanctioned by all these states, and we have been promised that they will try and get the permanent structures to the extent possible, so that we don't review all the time, and we guarantee that all our polling stations, the schools, are now PWD friendly with electricity and with toilets. The Commission has also, as you know, provided the Saksham app. They can book any facility which they want, from the volunteers to the tricycle or whatever they want, wheelchair, that can also be made available. दिल्ली में बैठ के हम लोग जब इलेक्शंस की बात करते हैं तो एक डिफरेंट पिक्चर नज़र में आती है. तो इन दिस presentation and to make it little more grounded, we are trying to show you how it looks where the elections are going to happen and how tough it is, how different it is from our perspective, how difficult it is to conduct election in these states for the personals who are involved in this. You would see the polling station on the slide here. This is at the top of a foothill called the Mount Saramati in Nagaland. And you can imagine how difficult would it be for the polling parties to go. The second one which you are seeing is very interesting. This is on the border of Myanmar, and the line, the division line passes through the house of the head of the village. So his house is half this side, half this side. So that's the interesting picture we thought we'll show you to make it little more visually appealing to you. How they conduct elections in places like Meghalaya. Please see how difficult it is. Somewhere there are temporary booths, temporary bridges of bamboo which are made. I'll show you a small video how do they walk this time. Look at the next slide, in which polling stations and families in Tripura. This is from Tripura. Half them going by kind of boats and into the inhabited, less habited, inaccessible islands also. So friends, imagine the BLOs, the polling personals who go and get involved in this activity. Forests, tough terrains, the bridges which are temporary, hill areas. And what happens? They actually deserve our appreciation. So this is what I wanted to brief and show you this. Friends, just to take you a little back, in last 2 years we have had assembly elections to 13 states, starting from Bihar during the pandemic to the last in Himachal and Gujarat. There were 6.46 lakh polling stations. I would be grateful if you can convey this. 6.46 lakhs polling stations, and minimum on each station there are 3 units of the EVM, which is ballot unit, which is the VVPAT and which is the CPU. Of all these 6.46 lakhs polling stations, many of which are as tough as this. And I'll tell you how they are tough. अभी आपने इस वीडियो में देखा कि एक रोप वे पर एक व्यक्ति को लाया जा रहा था, उसको हार्ट की प्रॉब्लम हो गई, ही वॉज ए पर्सनल एम्प्लॉय, ही वॉज ए पोलिंग ऑफिसर, उसको लाना मुश्किल हो गया. और एक जगह आपने देखा गाड़ी नहीं निकाली जा रही थी. Exactly in these 13 elections, only 4 incidents happened, जो दिन भर टीवी पर चलती रहीं, दिन भर. एक असम में जब रात के 10-11 बजे भारी बारिश में वो दूसरी प्राइवेट गाड़ी में आए. It was a violation of the protocol, no doubt. But I am just trying to tell you the scale. Out of 6.46 lakhs, only 4. One was in Tamil Nadu, where somebody came on a scooter in a hurry to deposit the machines. One was in West Bengal, and one was in UP. That's all. And imagine what happens whole day. Because I understand it gets more TRP, but it whole day these is shown, and the employees, when we talk to them, believe me, it's very painful for them. They say that 6.46 lakhs minus 4 are just forgotten how much work they have done. So just to sensitize you, nothing more. Coming to the informed voting, this is our KYC app. All the citizenry can know about the candidates, their criminal background. This is about the C-Vigil, I'm sorry. The vigilant citizens, they can make any complaints, and all these details in detail we have given in each of these states, so that voters in those three states of Tripura, Meghalaya and Nagaland can use this. And believe me, it is helping us. You remember in the recently held elections, we confiscated goods close to how much, around 900 crores as against 40-50 crores of the last 2018 elections in Himachal and Gujarat. Large part of it was helpful to us. And repeatedly telling through the medium of the press, our friends, it helps us to ensure that the elections are free and the inducement free. We will also deploy observers in these three states. 64 expenditure observers. We have identified expenditure sensitive constituencies. In some states there are more. Out of these three, in some states there are more. Because each state is different. Each state's context is different. We will also have 69 general observers and we will have 33 police observers in these places. And large number of instructions have been given to enforcement agencies to curb the flow of cash, to asking banks to keep a watch on the accounts, also asking them, again, the use of money also, people are becoming smarter. In last time we came to a situation where the bank account is used to transfer money through the ballots or something to the large number of voters. We have asked banks to keep a watch on this. We'll monitor the ballots, we'll monitor the payments through electronic means, and we'll also monitor the withdrawal of used cash or deposits of used cash in any account in these three states, and also wherever elections are held. We have also directed the Narcotics Bureau and the State Excise to very, very strictly look for drugs. Because this, not in this area, otherwise also you saw it in Bengal, you saw it in Punjab and Gujarat also, last elections, large number of seizures were made. So, drugs also we have very, very strictly said. So, in nutshell, our paramilitary forces have already this time reached these three states. And they are already involved in area domination. And because of that, I am again happy to report, because of that, the incidents of violence so far are nil. And we are hopeful. We have told our DOs. And citizens also want this not to happen. They are also very much in favor. And we have appealed to them while we were there that please help us by knowing any possibility through C-Vigil or something. Bring it to our notice so that we can get your help to curb it. Model Code of Conduct will now come into force in these three states. And next, if we can show you the schedule, the dates would be something like this. Tripura, and we have taken let me tell you first this. The date of issue of notification in case of Tripura would be January 21. And last date of making nominations January 30. We will also put it on social media account of ours immediately, so that you can take this. You can put it right now. So if you want, it can be downloaded from our sweep handle. Meghalaya and Nagaland would have it on 31st January, and thereafter both of them have the poll together. The date of poll would be February 16th in case of Tripura and February 27th. So we are finishing all the polling in the February 27th, within February itself. This is to take into account, this has taken into account that the examinations schedules are also taken into account and that children are not really disturbed by this to the extent possible. So since most of the exams are by and large in March, we have tried to finish this in February itself. And no polling station is in any school which is a CBSE related school whose CBSE schedule has come. So there is only one paper before this, but we have ensured that in no school there is a CBSE center or a CBSE school. Next. This is all the dates. We are also having by-elections. There are by-elections now, whatever are the vacancies reported to us so far. We are all covering them, and this is the tradition again we are starting, not to wait. As soon as there are vacancies, we try and finish up, though we can wait technically for 6 months. But we are finishing it, keeping it update, giving the electorate to have their representatives. So there is one AC each in Arunachal, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, 2 ACs in Maharashtra and 1 parliamentary constituency in Lakshadweep. The details would be available of these names of these constituencies, and the schedule would be like this. They will go with the Meghalaya and Nagaland poll on the same day. That means the February 27th would be date of poll, and January 31st being the date of notification. Thank you, friends. Again, through you, I want to appeal to all the voters to come forward, participate in the large number, and strengthen the democracy, deepen it further. And through the media, I'm sure all this will reach them, and media this time would also be far more receptive to showing some good stories of the election. There are a large number of good stories which are being produced. We have also taken on ourselves. We have asked the DOs to please document those success stories. Please document. So they are also in the process. I'm sure they will also do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would now invite all your questions. Kindly introduce yourself along with your name and media organization before you begin the question. Any questions, or sir's opening statement has been detailed enough? Shailesh Sharp. Mike pakda
दोबारा एक बार बोलेंगे आप?
All right, viewers, that's the latest news break that is coming in from the Election Commission. The date of poll for the state of Tripura is 16th February. Meghalaya and Nagaland will go to polls on the 27th of February. Counting day for all 3 states is March 2nd. March 2nd, the fate of all 3 states would be known. However, there is a difference in terms of polling dates between 3 states, a 10-day difference between Tripura. Tripura is the first state out of the 3 to go to polls first, which is the 16th of February, following which Nagaland and Meghalaya will poll together come the 27th of February. I want to quickly cut across to my colleague Afrida, who's joining us with the very latest coming in. Afrida, well, the poll bugle, to quote the cliche, has literally been sounded for all 3 states. Tripura will go to polls first, come the 16th of February, 27th. Both the other states of Meghalaya, Nagaland, and 2nd of March would be counting for all 3 states.
Yes, just now as the Election Commission has announced the dates for all the 3 states, and the Tripura will have the elections on February 16, and Meghalaya and Nagaland will have on February 27. It will be the most exciting one for the Northeast, because as far as the Election Commission has already briefed that the terrain is also very difficult, and a large number of voters are there, which is expected to vote this time. And but this will be the most exciting elections in Meghalaya and Nagaland, especially, and because in Nagaland, as there is no oppositions, but there are concerns from the public as well, because because of the Naga peace talk, because framework agreement was signed in the year 2015 with a promise, with a poll promise that they will, the government of India will bring the peace to the Nagaland. But different NGOs along with the ENPOs and all, they are saying now that no elections without solutions. So it will be interesting to see what happens in Nagaland right after this announcement. Although the nephew Rio today had made a categorical statement that elections are constitutional obligations and constitutional crisis can't be allowed. But most interestingly, the Nagaland is a state where it's a state run by the parallel. It's a state run by the parallel government. So it will be most interesting to see all this development after these announcements.
Well, very interesting. Thank you, Afrida, for breaking down the local semantics of each state. Coming right back to you for more. But viewers, you know, also what's interesting, all three states, 60 seats, 60 seats, 60 seats. Tripura with its all of 60 seats goes to polling, goes to vote on the 16th of February. Then there's a 10-day difference. 27th February is when Meghalaya and the other third state of Nagaland will be going to vote. 2nd March, once again, is counting day for all three states. Rahul, interesting, you know, many would read into it of the 10-day gap between Tripura and Meghalaya and Nagaland.
Yes, I think also largely because of the security terms, in terms of movement of security, because remember, Nagaland and certain parts of Meghalaya will need certain amount of beefing up as far as the security is concerned. Also, the Election Commission has a reason which they can state is that the terms of the assemblies are different. That both Nagaland and Meghalaya sometime in March, and while Tripura is ending in February. So the Election Commission can say that this is the gap is because of that, but it does give, yes, political parties more time to campaign. Remember, these three states, 180 odd seats. I think the BJP, for the central BJP, it's critical part of their look northeast plan, primarily because though there might be 180 seats, the BJP has been eyeing for strengthening itself in this region, especially the 7 states in the northeast, because of the 25 Lok Sabha seats. And in a political matrix where every seat matters, the BJP, if not something like in Tripura, where it is facing a bit of heat because one, increased political movement by the Trinamool Congress, one. The second, the tie-up between the left and the Congress party, if they get the IPFT, which they are attempting to get the tribal forces with them, if 3-4 of them come together and there is a 3-way contest between the coalition between left, Congress, and the BJP and the Trinamool Congress, the BJP will have it very, very tough in Tripura, one of the states where it in northeast, which it clearly rules. Beyond that, in Meghalaya also, not very happy tidings. What we are hearing that there could be a split as far as the ruling NPP, Conrad Sangma's party is concerned, and the two could, the BJP and Sangma, actually may go on separate ways to contest the election and look forward for perhaps coming together after the elections are over.
Well, would that also mean somewhere down the line advantage TMC, Rahul? Because TMC is all in, where Meghalaya comes into question, overnight coup. The entire opposition, which was with the Congress, defected for the TMC. And Afrida, I'd like to bring you in on this because both two states of Meghalaya and Tripura, and I would reckon the TMC is going for a bigger push where Meghalaya is concerned, not that, it's leaving Tripura. But very, very important politically for the TMC to come good in these elections, especially if they want a position or what they had aspired for earlier to be the possible fulcrum for opposition unity. It needs to go beyond and extend its footprint to the northeast if it is looking at the national stage at all.
See, in Tripura, I would like to mention, as I am closely monitoring all this, that with the in Tripura, the TMC cannot make its second home without any alliance. There is no sign of it. Because the Tripura Motha, which has come up as a regional party, and also the CPIM and the Congress is already there, and the BJP may face turbulence from the Tripura Motha, which is the emerging party with the influence in 20 reserve seats in Tripura. Besides that, the combination votes where the Muslim voters are also there in Tripura in another 15 seats apart from this 20 seats, the Tripura Motha will have a huge influence. And there has also been a talk of secret understanding between the Tripura Motha, and although the Congress and the CPIM has already decided to go for an alliance, but Tripura Motha might have a secret understanding regarding the seat sharing with these two parties. Regarding the Meghalaya, yes, of course, the entire opposition has defected to the TMC, leaving the Congress as its zero. And right now, the Congress doesn't have any impact in Meghalaya, no sign. And the rest of the members who are in Congress, they have lately joined NPP, including the Amparin Lingdo in the Conrad Sangma's party. So the NPP has decided to go alone in this election. Later on, they may decide the post-poll alliance, but as far as of now, the Conrad Sangma has decided to go solo in this election. And yes, TMC has also decided to go alone in this election without any alliance. Yes, of course,
Right.
that we can see that your TMC, with the leadership of Mukul Sangma, who has joined from the Congress party, has certain influence in the Garo Hills and also in the Khasi Hills as well. So this will be the most interesting elections to see.
All right, stay with me, Afrida. I want to quickly pull in Rahul Srivastav as well. Rahul, two big developments that one needs to look at, because, what I'm getting to understand also where the TMC is coming in, they're going all in for Meghalaya. They actually feel they could have a chance. They are the principal opposition. Where Tripura is concerned, Rahul, the sheer fact that they don't have an alliance yet, despite of the likes of Sushmita, they're practically camping out in Tripura over the last couple of months. What would be interesting in Tripura would be once arch rivals, the left and the Congress, coming together. So the chances of in Meghalaya, TMC, and what comes of the left Congress alliance in Tripura?
You see, I'm not surprised. Nobody should be surprised at the left and the Congress coming together. They've done it in Bengal, much to their peril, of course. The fact remains that right now both of them are fighting for survival. And if you see the left today, for example, they are together in Tripura, but today at the political event organized by KCR, the Chief Minister of Telangana, you found that the left is becoming part of a anti-BJP, anti-Congress formation in Telangana, which is perhaps has national ambitions. So yes, that alliance doesn't matter. Interestingly, Sushmita Deb presents on behalf of the TMC is interesting. Remember, her father, Mr.
Yes.
Santosh Mohan Deb, was elected from Tripura West twice, 1989, 1991, and he is one of the rare members of parliament who have been elected from two states, Silchar in Bengal and in Assam, and from Tripura West in 89, 91. She is creating a big push for the party, but the fact remains that I think the biggest news is going to be that if there is going to be the Motha, the tribals tie up with the Congress and the left parties. If that happens, I think that will be the formation to look out for in Tripura.
Right.
And the BJP stronghold, which it had gained last time around, I think would slip away.
Well, it's interesting, and I would reckon another big player that we haven't quite spoken of, and Afrida, I'll bring you in on this. He might have nothing to do with the three states, but everything to do with them, especially where maneuvering and permutations, combinations are concerned, and that is Himanta Biswa Sarma.
See, he is from the NEDA and he plays a big role in the Northeast. As far as Himanta Biswa Sharma is concerned, he is considered to be the super CM of the Northeast. And yes, of course, he has a very big role to play in Nagaland, Meghalaya, and Tripura elections so far because he is the one of the he is considered to be the Chanakya in the last assembly elections in Tripura and also in the Nagaland also regarding the peace talk and all those things. Himanta Biswa Sharma is closely involved in all this, being the leader of the NEDA. And also in the Meghalaya, it seems that the Conrad Sangma is a very good friend of Himanta Biswa Sharma. But right now, the Conrad Sangma has decided to go alone in this
Rahul
assembly elections.
You know, Afrida, stay with me. Rahul Srivastava, who is not a good friend of Himanta Biswa Sarma? Conrad Sangma is a great friend of Himanta Biswa Sarma. If I'm not wrong, Sushmita Dev rumored to be very, very close to Himanta Biswa Sarma. Half of the proverbial opposition to the BJP is very good friends with Himanta Biswa Sarma when it comes down to the Northeast.
See, so much so that, Preeti, that you're right, that he has become one of the most trusted men in the BJP when it means that you are trying to hijack some MLAs of rival parties and taking them over. I think Himanta Biswa Sarma has made his mark in the party, and when I come to think of it, that who is not friends with Himanta Biswa Sarma in the opposition could well be the last dog he had talked about when he went to meet some political party leader.
But, you know, I want to bring in Rajdeep Sardesai as well, our consulting editor who's also joining us. Rajdeep, we've spoken ad nauseum about the factors of in Meghalaya, you know, when it comes down to Tripura, when it comes down to Nagaland. But ultimately, if one has to look at it, the biggest factor of it all, and do you reckon, because Afrida is also smiling on the same, is the fact of Himanta Biswa Sarma?
You know, look, Himanta Biswa Sarma is undoubtedly someone who has acquired this image of a Northeast Chanakya. But let's also not forget that Conrad Sangma is not fighting this election with the BJP. So there are, in Meghalaya, there are dissensions within the alliance in Tripura as well. Even in Nagaland, there have been concerns over seat sharing. So while Himanta Biswa Sarma is seen as the potential kingmaker, let's not forget that when a political party plays big brother, as the BJP is now in the Northeast, as the Congress used to in the past when they were in power in the center, there can be resistance at times from regional parties. The issue in the Northeast, Preeti, is that most of these assemblies are small assemblies. Therefore, even if a party gets a couple of seats, sometimes 5-6 seats, they can hold the balance of power. And that's where the BJP and Himanta Biswa Sarma can play a role, because let's be honest, the BJP today has the resources, especially from being in power at the center, to influence the final seat sharing, the final government formation in these states. You will recall in Manipur in 2017, the Congress was the single largest party, the BJP formed a government. You will recall in Meghalaya, last time the Congress was the single largest party, the NPP formed a government with the BJP. So I think you've got to recognize that Himanta Biswa Sarma is also a creation of the environment in which the Northeast operates, where every political party is looking to strike deals with the center. And because the BJP is in power in the center, it becomes much easier for the BJP to do this, Nagaland being a classic example. You had asked me earlier before the press conference which states I would look at carefully, and the reason I had said Meghalaya and Tripura, because I think there you have the Trinamool Congress also in the fray in both these states, and you have the Congress and the left trying to strike an alliance in Tripura. And I think that changes the equations a bit. The BJP will make every effort to retain Tripura. And let's be clear, till about 10 years ago, the BJP was virtually nowhere in most of the states of the Northeast. Now it's the Congress which is virtually non-existent. So I think times have changed, and Himanta Biswa Sarma was in the Congress 10 years ago, and today he's with the BJP. And that, in a sense, that shift of Himanta Biswa Sarma really reflects the power shift of the Northeast, where the BJP today increasingly calls the shots.
Well, you know, stay with me, Rajdeep. We're going to come back right to you. But Afrida, do you concur, where the role of Himanta Biswa Sarma is concerned? Because we've spoken about various factors. But do you concur with what Rajdeep had to say?
See, today only I spoke to Lanil Kohli, who is Nagaland in charge of the BJP party. He said that regarding the seat sharing, although the Nagaland state BJP wants 50-50 with NDPP, but he said that already the Himanta Biswa Sharma and also the Amit Shah ji has announced that that will be that they will go with the earlier arrangement. So seat sharing has already been solved in Nagaland. So they will go by the earlier arrangements with the 40 and 20, 40 with the NDPP and BJP. They will vote in the 26.
So even before
Regarding
the results are out, Afrida, seat sharing has already been sorted and practically because Nagaland, understandably, because there is no opposition, seems to be a done deal.
Yes, seat sharing has already been sorted in Nagaland.
All right, okay, Afrida, I'm running a bit short of time. I'm going to come right back to you. Do stay with us, as well as Rahul Srivastav, Rajdeep Sardesai, giving their perspective as 3 states get ready for elections. Because the first of the 3 states of the 9 that are going to elections in what is touted to be a super political over before the big one when it comes out to 2024. And these 3 states, Nagaland, Meghalaya, go to polls on the 27th of February. 10 days earlier is Tripura on the 16th of February, counting for all 3 states on the 2nd of March. Trust India today to get you the ringside view, or rather the front row seats to this political thriller as it carries on with these 3 states going to polls in March. Of course, the results coming in March, going to polls in Feb, and very quickly right after, Karnataka comes up. Stay with us. Continuous coverage on India Today.
The men and women who built Indian industry, and the young guns who are shaping tomorrow's India. From storied careers to unicorn dreams.
The equity market is a dynamic space that needs sharper insights and perfect timing. What stock, what fund, what to pick and what to sell.
How do you make money on the markets? And what are the superior strategies for a winning portfolio?
Your questions answered by 30 years of undisputed leadership.
Only at the Market Today Summit.
Saif Ali Khan and Amrita Singh's son Ibrahim Ali Khan is all set to debut as an actor after assisting Karan Johar on his next Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani. He has reportedly been roped in to play an important role in the Hindi remake of Hridyam. The making rights of the same have been backed by Karan Johar. Meanwhile, visuals of Ibrahim partying, going out with friends, or just making red carpet appearances keep surfacing online. Now, Amir Khan and Reena Datta's son Junaid is also among those who will be fulfilling his dreams of becoming an actor with his debut film Maharaja. It is reported that he will be romancing Bunty or Bubbly 2 fame actor Sharvari Wagh in this Siddharth P. Malhotra's film. So it surely will be an interesting year for these kids. Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
want to understand that your report every year seems to suggest inequality is widening, and a lot of critics of your report are contrasting it with the IMF report, which actually says extreme poverty has come down because of government welfare schemes like free ration. That you're looking at only concentration of wealth in the hands of a few, but what you're not seeing is also that poverty, according to the IMF report, has actually come down. How do you respond?
Thank you, Rajdeep, for inviting me. And let me say that, this report is about the growing inequality. And you have cited some figures, but let me also just talk of one more figure. And I think it's critical. If you look at the last 1 decade, and first let me quote the global data, 50% of the new wealth created actually went to the top 1%. In the last 2 years of the pandemic, 2/3 of this newly created wealth went to the top 1%. And it's not very different for India. 40% of this wealth went to the top 1%, whereas the bottom 50% got only 3%. So I think it's important to recognize that inequality has risen, and it is something that we can see through data and also in our day-to-day interactions in the world. So I think it's very important to actually look at the causes of inequality. Our report is to say that inequality is growing and we need to directly address the question of inequality. That's the central message, that we cannot do away, we cannot look away and say that inequality is a non-issue. We need to focus on inequality, and there are ways of addressing it. This is something which is not good for the future of this country.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
You are watching India Today.
And a mega show of opposition unity in Telangana. BRS Chief K. Chandrasekhar Rao is going to be addressing a huge rally in Khammam. Several opposition leaders, including Aam Aadmi Party Chief and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann, Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav, Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan and CPI General Secretary D. Raja are also going to be attending KCR's event as chief guests. KCR, along with his guests, visited Lord Lakshmi Narasimha Swamy at Yadagiri Gutta. However, several leaders are not part of this show. TMC Chief Mamata Banerjee, Shiv Sena's Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray, NCP's Sharad Pawar and several other prominent opposition leaders are not attending this particular event. Remember, just last year, KCR met these leaders in connection to his bid for a non-Congress opposition front. Yet the biggest event of KCR's party after changing the name to BRS is not being attended by him. KCR has declared his central theme Ab Ki Baar Kisan Sarkar, and he's going to be carrying forward the plight of the farmers as the main issue in this rally.
This public meeting definitely would be an eye opener to the change in the politics at the national level under the leadership of KCR Garu, and obviously the characteristic of all these leaders are they are non-Congress, non-BJP leaders who are going to be present on the dais, and this public meeting would definitely throw light on the national media and also the national interest part, what KCR exactly wants to tell the nation about BRS party and his role in the future in national politics.
Finance Minister is made an in charge for this public meeting. That itself clearly shows that they want to manage the show with the help of the money which comes from the all illegal activities. This is only a publicity stunt. Apart from that, nothing is there.
It doesn't even showcase any strength at this point of time. As we see, this is a validation exercise of KCR to ensure that his newly formed party, which has changed its name from TRS to BRS, stands validated. But however, it looks like it has failed already because there
Alright, so the location, they've arrived there. It's Khammam in Telangana. First up, visuals on your screens, viewers. First on India Today, this is an exclusive news break we're bringing to you. No other channel has these visuals. This is a mega show, as I mentioned earlier, of opposition strength, of opposition unity. This is all happening in Telangana. BRS chief KCR, that is K. Chandrasekhar Rao, is going to be addressing a huge rally any moment now. You will have that address with him shortly. We'll cut live to it and get you all the latest details. There have been several opposition leaders who are a part of it. I could see Arvind Kejriwal, and there are many more. Let's get those visuals to know who all have arrived right there. You can see K. Chandrasekhar Rao at the moment on your screens, the one who's waving to the crowds at the moment. He's being flanked by several opposition leaders. You can see right there on your screens. We'll bring you those visuals too in terms of who all are present at the moment. But as far as the agenda is concerned, Aam Aadmi Party Chief Arvind Kejriwal, Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann, Akhilesh Yadav, I saw him earlier. Yeah, there you go. Akhilesh Yadav also on the podium right there. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan. You've got CPI General Secretary D. Raja. All of them attending KCR's event. All of them are chief guests at this particular event. He also visited a temple along with his guests earlier today, and what's interesting is that there you go, Bhagwant Mann on your screens right there, but several opposition leaders are not attending this event. You can see Bhagwant Mann along with Pinarayi Vijayan, Akhilesh Yadav, KCR, all of them on the stage at the moment. There are many opposition leaders, in fact, who are not a part of this mega show. In fact, the big one, TMC Chief Mamata Banerjee, not a part of this. Shiv Sena Chief Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray, not a part of this. Sharad Pawar, not a part of this as well. There are many other prominent opposition leaders not attending this event, and big questions arising on why are they not attending this event. Last year, remember, KCR also met these leaders in connection to his bid for a non-Congress opposition front. Listen into what's going on right there.
Jai BRS, Jai KCR, देश की नेता KCR, देश की नेता KCR, जय BRS, जय BRS, बोलो स्वतंत्र भारत की जय, जय भारत, जय भारत.
There you go, huge strength of the opposition party leaders, and on your screens you can see Arvind Kejriwal, Pinarayi Vijayan, you can see KCR, you can see Bhagwant Mann, Akhilesh Yadav. What's interesting here is that there are several opposition leaders of prominence who are not a part of this mega show of strength, and I think KCR is about to speak. Can we listen in?
రాజకీయ కురువృద్ధులు భీష్మాచార్యుల వంటి
I
వారు
request the producers to get somebody to translate what he's
కేరళ
saying.
రాష్ట్రాన్ని తన అద్భుతమైన పరిపాలనతో చరిత్రలో లేని విధంగా రెండవసారి కూడా సిపిఎం పార్టీని విజయ తీరాల వైపు చేర్చి భారతదేశంలోనే అత్యంత సీనియర్గా ఉన్నటువంటి గౌరవనీయులు పెద్దలు కేరళ ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారు శ్రీ విజయన్ గారిని ప్రసంగించవలసిందిగా మనందరి తరఫున నేను విజ్ఞప్తి చేస్తా ఉన్నాను.
Live and first here on India Today. There you go.
Sisters
Pinarayi
and
Vijayan
brothers.
addressing the crowd now.
This Mammoth rally is being held at a time when the basic tenets of our constitution are facing a series of threats from the people who are at the helm of affairs at the center. At the outset, I congratulate the Chief Minister of Telangana for taking the initiative to have this sort of a people's movement and to involve the like-minded CMs and leaders of various states in this great endeavor, meant for the future of the people of this country. On this very same day, a newly built collectorate for the district of Khammam and the second phase of Kandivalak, the universal eye screening program organized by the state government of Telangana, have been inaugurated. This needs special mention because through them, at one stroke itself, the state government is improving governance as well as public services so as to better the lives of the people of Telangana. Let me state that Kerala and its people are with the state government of Telangana in all their pro-people initiatives. I have come to understand that decentralization of governance has been a hallmark of KCR Garu's administration. During the tenure of his government, collectorates have become state-of-the-art integrated district office complexes. All district departments are co-located in them for the convenience of people. And as far as the Kandivalak program goes, no such mass eye testing program has been conducted in the history of our country. Kandivalak means light for the eyes or a torchlight showing the path. Today, with this public meeting, we are showing the path forward for the nation. It is a matter of great pride to once again be here in Telangana, the land of people's struggles. It is the heroic struggle of the peasants of Telangana in the late 1940s which placed the issue of land reforms on the agenda of the country. Several such people's struggles taking up diverse issues were waged as part of our glorious national movement. It is subsequent to centuries-long such struggles that our country won its freedom from the colonizers. However, today we have a peculiar situation in which a political formation that was not part of our national freedom struggle is in power in the country. The followers of those who tendered unconditional apologies to the colonizers and promised to serve the imperial crown are at the helm of affairs today. they have been and remain antagonistic to the values of our anti-colonial struggle. Ideas such as secularism, democracy, federal structure, social justice, and equality were championed through it, and subsequently they were included in India's constitution so as to uphold the values championed by our freedom struggle. Since those in power now were not part of our collective struggles then, they do not know the values on which India has been built as a sovereign, democratic republic. So, they seek to alter the basic structures on which our modern nation has been built, even as they call for celebrations such as Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to commemorate the 75th anniversary of India's independence. Amidst the glam and glitter of these celebrations, they seek to undo the very foundations of our country, our democracy, and our constitution. Our constitution starts with the preamble in which we have enshrined the basic values that we uphold as Indians: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. By signing various international defense agreements, they go against the concept of sovereignty. By allowing the concentration of wealth through consistent appeasement of corporates, they go against the concept of socialism. By seeking to replace parliamentary democracy with presidential form of governance, they go against the concept of democracy. By enacting laws which divide the people on communal lines, as in the case of the Citizenship Amendment Act, they thwart the concept of secularism. After the preamble comes part 1, in which we define India. It states, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. The states are the basic units of India, our country. It is the union of states that creates India, our country. That is why India has a federal structure. Yet those in power think that we are a unitary state. We need to remember that their predecessors had promised to declare India as a unitary state in their manifesto published in the run-up to the 4th general election held in India in 1967. The union government is consciously trying to destroy the country's federal structure. Repeatedly, laws are being enacted by the parliament on subjects in the state list in the constitution, be it law and order, agriculture, cooperation, power, or so on. Bills that infringe upon the rights of the states are being enacted into laws, even without seeking the opinion of state governments. Even while entering into international agreements that affect the states, the union government does not inform state governments, let alone seek their consent. Slogans such as one nation, one tax, one nation, one uniform, one nation, one election are all attacks on federal structure. When states try to mobilize resources through additional alternative sources, the union intervenes and sabotages such moves. On the one hand, the right to avail loan is curbed, and on the other, the additional resources are sealed. Along with this, the funds that are made available to the state by the Constitution too are denied. Such attacks are most acute in the states that are ruled by governments that are opposed to the BJP-RSS combine ruling the union. We are seeing it in Telangana as well as in Kerala. Attacks against the states' rights and powers are being carried out even by politically misusing the office of governor. Widespread efforts are on to take control of the higher education sector through the governors in their capacity as chancellors. Assent to legislations that have been enacted by the state legislatures are being withheld. Such affronts on the supremacy of state legislatures weaken not just our federal structure, but even our democracy too. Democracy should be protected if the values that we fought for are to be secured. We do not have any option but to resist these moves more unitedly. The weakening of our parliamentary democracy is evident in the way in which our parliamentary norms and precedents are being bulldozed. Bills are being passed without adequate discussions or calling for division in the parliament, and this weakens our parliamentary democracy. All ethics and norms of democracy are being violated. Governments that have come to power in the states by winning a majority in the assembly elections are being toppled through horse trading. Such unethical efforts to form governments in the states weaken the very foundations of our democracy, which is based on a multi-party system. Such a multi-party system is essential if we are to preserve and promote our diversities while remaining united as one. Unity in diversity is the most cherished of India's ideals. It is what has defined us as a nation right from the days of our freedom struggle. India's varied languages are the expressions of our diversities. Our mother tongues are part of our cultural identities. However, efforts are on to portray Hindi as the national language while sidelining all our native languages, be it Telugu or Tamil or Kannada or Malayalam or Bengali or Odia or Assamese or Punjabi or Urdu or Gujarati or Kashmiri and so on. Imposing Hindi by doing away with our mother tongues will affect the integrity of the nation. Even the independence of our judiciary is being attacked. The statement of the 2.2% to 0.8% infrastructure sector has declined from the statement of the law minister to the effect that the union government should have a decisive say in the appointment of judges goes to prove that the BJP government is hell-bent on destroying judicial autonomy and to subvert the judiciary into a nominated body of the union government. The Chief Justice himself has resisted the move, and it is commendable that the judiciary in general and the Supreme Court in particular have taken a firm stand, keeping the spirit of the independence of judiciary high. Not merely members of the union cabinet, but even the nominees are trying to meddle with the autonomy of the judiciary. Last week, the Vice President attacked the Supreme Court for striking down the NJSC Act of 2015. He even went on to say that he does not agree with the restriction imposed by the Supreme Court, which ensures that the Parliament cannot amend the basic structure of the Constitution. It is
All right, we'll continue bringing you all the latest updates right there. And of course, the big one, of course, being the prominent opposition leaders who are amiss from that to bring you all of this and much more in moments from now, slipping into a very short commercial break right here on India Today. Stay with us.
watching India Today.
Give us your sense of what's happening inside China.
Great to be here with you, Rahul. You know, a lot of people here from different parts of the world have been concerned about China. And of course, being our close neighbors, we're watching how the situation unravels. India, because of its excellent vaccine coverage and the herd immunity, because we allowed infections to spread like other countries and didn't have a zero COVID policy after the initial lockdowns, India, along with other countries, are in a far better situation. Do I fear, this sort of thing happening in India again, like what's happening in China? I don't think so, because, as I mentioned, our vaccine has been very effective and the coverage has been very effective. China, sadly, has not had both of those situations pan out, and we just pray and hope that they solve their issue. In fact, I was talking to some people to try and offer the Western vaccines and Indian vaccines to them as boosters, so they can control their hospitalizations and come out of even spreading the infection.
Are the Chinese interested in your vaccine?
I've requested them to put political issues aside and just look at the bigger picture, because, for the world, it's important that China comes back also. And we just wish them the best in a speedy recovery, because if you look at supply chain disruptions, investments, uncertainty, people are still a little uncertain to make investments in this part of the world because of what's happening there. But of course, given that you've seen the response here, India is definitely by far the most reliable and chosen destination for investors. And given the choice, of course, India stands far ahead.
I started by asking Adar about what's happening in China, because what's happening in China from a health emergency perspective also is potentially one of the biggest opportunities for India as global companies realign their supply chains. To what extent do you think at this moment, in the way things are, is India being able to benefit from the idea that companies need to look beyond China in this China plus one strategy of it?
I think that's playing out quite favorably for India, because the aftershocks of what just happened in China, but also what's happened in Ukraine and Russia, has made organizations, global companies look at de-risking supply chains. It's no longer about cost optimization, but about resilience, managing risks, etc. So when they're looking at another place beyond China, obviously there are other contenders. But India is special because India is not just a source, it can also be a market. And with the PLI schemes and the government trying to do more to attract investments, there is certainly a strong case for investments to come into India, which you've seen in electronics and traditionally areas where we've not seen so much of investments. So I think it's a good time for India.
heaters and blankets inside cages. This is how Lucknow's Nawab Wajid Ali Shah Zoological Garden is protecting its animals from the cold wave that has swept North India. The zoo administration has also placed hay grass inside the cages of tigers, lions and bears. Heaters are placed in the cages of reptiles as they need constant heat to maintain their body temperatures. Apart from keeping the animals warm, zoo authorities say special winter diet is being followed for animals.
जो हमारे बाड़े हैं उनमें जहाँ जहाँ जालियाँ लगी हुई हैं और जहाँ से हवा तेज़ी से पास होने की संभावना होती है वहाँ पर हम लोगों ने पॉलीथीन लगाया है। जिन बाड़ों में हीटर की ज़रूरत है वहाँ पर हमने जानवरों के लिए हीटर लगाए हैं। इसके अलावा हिरन प्रजाति के लिए व्यापक रूप से पुआल की व्यवस्था की गई है जिस पर वो लेटते भी हैं और उसको खाते भी हैं।
The harsh winter is unbearable for many of these animals, but the zoo initiative has made life a bit easier for them.
लखनऊ के चिड़ियाघर में क्या किए गए हैं इंतजाम। ठंड आप सभी को मुबारक, पर उस ठंड के साथ साथ सेहत का ध्यान रखना भी शायद बेहद ज़रूरी है, फिर चाहे हम इंसान हो और चाहे चिड़ियाघर या बाहर रहने वाले तमाम जानवर और पक्षी।
With Samad Srivastava from Lucknow, Bureau Report, India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
You're watching an India Today special broadcast being brought to you from the stunning ski resort of Clusters, Davos.
The 53rd World Economic Forum is back at the snow-clad slopes of Davos. The smartest minds gather to debate the world's biggest challenges: energy crisis, industry headwinds, geopolitical risks, social vulnerabilities. India Today and Business Today are at ground zero to bring you all the action. Catch top corporate tycoons, politicians and intellectuals as they discuss cooperation in a fragmented world. Watch the Davos brainstorm only on India Today and Business Today TV.
You are watching India Today.
जी पंजाब के मुख्यमंत्री श्री भगवत मान जी, सीपीआई के जनरल सेक्रेटरी आदरणीय डी राजा जी और मंच पर उपस्थित सभी बीआरएस पार्टी के सभी वरिष्ठ नेता, यहाँ पर इस सभा में उपस्थित बीआरएस पार्टी के संगठन के सभी पदाधिकारी, मिनिस्टर्स, सांसद, विधायक, सभी नेता और बड़ी संख्या में जहां तक मैं देख सकता हूं मुझे लोग ही लोग दिखाई दे रहे हैं, सर दिखाई दे रहे हैं। मैं अगर बाईं तरफ देखता हूं मुझे लोग ही लोग दिखाई दे रहे हैं, सर दिख रहे हैं। दाईं तरफ देखता हूं तो सर दिखाई दे रहे हैं। और मैं जब सामने देखता हूं, जहां तक देख सकता हूं वहां तक मुझे लोग दिखाई दे रहे हैं। मैं इस ऐतिहासिक धरती पर, खम्मम की ऐतिहासिक धरती पर, मैं आदरणीय केसीआर साहब का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आभार प्रकट करता हूं कि यहां पर इतनी बड़ी संख्या में आपने बुला करके पूरे देश को एक संदेश देने का काम किया है। आज सुबह से लगातार हम लोग काम देख रहे हैं। मैं सामने जहां पर बिल्डिंग में हम लोग बैठे थे, ये इंटीग्रेटेड जो ऑफिस बनी है, कॉम्प्लेक्स बना है, एक ये उदाहरण है सरकारों के लिए कि एक जगह कैसे अधिकारी बैठ सकते हैं और जनता को तकलीफ और परेशानी नहीं होगी, एक ही जगह पर समस्या का समाधान हो जाएगा। ये खम्मम वो धरती है जिसने हमेशा इतिहास बनाने का काम किया है। यहां के लोगों ने बड़ी से बड़ी हुकूमत रही होंगी, ताकतें रही होंगी, उनके खिलाफ अपनी आवाज उठाने का काम किया है। यहां के किसान, यहां के नौजवान, अगर किसान कभी इकट्ठे हुए हैं और अपनी आवाज को बुलंद करना पड़ा होगा तो यहां के किसान इकट्ठे होकर के अपनी आवाज बुलंद कर करके उस समय की हुकूमत को हिला के रख दिया। मुझे उम्मीद है कि आने वाले समय में जो हालात हैं देश के, जिन परिस्थितियों से हम लोग गुजर रहे हैं, जहां भारत सरकार और खासकर भारतीय जनता पार्टी, जिसकी सरकार दिल्ली में है, एक एक सरकारें जो चुनी हुई उनको परेशान कर रही है। चाहे वो आपकी सरकार हो और चाहे आपके बीआरएस की पार्टी की सरकार हो, जो सहयोग और जो मदद और जो लोकतंत्र में सम्मान मिलना चाहिए वो सरकार सम्मान नहीं दे पा रही है। समय समय पर रुकावट कैसे पैदा हो, नेताओं को कैसे परेशान किया जाए, उनके खिलाफ क्या साजिश की जाए, उनके विपक्ष के लोग जो उनके सामने खड़े होकर के सवाल पूछते हैं, उनको किस षड्यंत्र से उनको दबाया जाए, उनकी छवि कैसे खराब की जाए, ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सोची समझी थी रणनीति के तहत काम कर रहे हैं। जो संस्थाएं हमें न्याय देना चाहती हैं, जहां से हम न्याय के लिए पुकार सकते हैं, उन संस्थाओं को भी दबाव बनाने का काम अगर कोई कर रहा है तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी कर रही है। अभी कल ही भारतीय जनता पार्टी की मीटिंग खत्म हुई है और उन्होंने कहा कि 400 दिन बाकी हैं। हमें तो लगता था कि ये सरकार तो वो है जो दावा करती थी कि हटेगी नहीं, अब तो वो स्वयं स्वीकार कर रही है कि अब 400 दिन हैं। जो सरकार अपने दिन गिनने लगे, जो सरकार अपने दिन बताने लगे, समझ लो ये 400 दिन बाद सरकार रुकने वाली नहीं है। अब तो 399 दिन बचे हैं। और जैसा कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी का समय समय पर जो बुनियादी मुद्दे हैं कि महंगाई कैसे कम हो, बेरोजगारी कैसे कम हो, हमारे लोग जो भारत छोड़ करके चले जा रहे हैं, कुछ लोग तो अपनी खुशहाली के लिए जा रहे हैं, लेकिन बड़ी संख्या में लाखों लोग ऐसे हैं जो धन दौलत उनके पास है, वो इस देश में रहना नहीं चाहते क्योंकि ये सरकार उनको रहना नहीं देना चाहती। इनके पास बुनियादी ठोस मुद्दे जो किसान की जरूरत के वो नहीं पूरे कर रहे हैं। आपको सबको याद होगा, यही बीजेपी के लोगों ने कहा कि हम किसानों की आय 2022 तक दोगुनी कर देंगे।
Co-presented by Panasonic. Create today, enrich tomorrow. Co-presented by Reliance Digital. Technology से रिश्ता जोड़ो.
And the big interview coming in from Davos. As his father holds a mega opposition show of strength in Khammam, KCR's son and Telangana Minister KT Ramarao is in Davos. He spoke to news director Rahul Kaval on BRS national ambitions and, more importantly, the battle for 2024. Here's a look.
The one Indian state that's making a big splash here at the World Economic Forum in Davos is Telangana, being represented by a fifth-time Davos man, KT Ramarao. Welcome once again. It's great to have you back with us on India Today and Business Today. I want to start by asking you, KTR, about what Telangana has managed to achieve out of the World Economic Forum in Davos this year.
Well, Rahul, firstly, as you would understand, obviously you're a Davos veteran as well now. Relationships, especially when it comes to investment decisions, do not happen overnight. So they have to be nurtured. They have to be, basically handheld properly. So what Davos gives you, what the World Economic Forum gives you, is of course insights into what is happening across the world in various countries, and it also gives you insights into the most important things plaguing the world at large. But again, from my perspective as a Minister for Industry, Commerce, Information Technology, it gives me an opportunity to connect with the decision makers who take investment decisions in their own respective roles. Now, this time around, we've had significant success because, like I said, we've been meeting these people regularly. We've been, sensitizing them on the opportunities in India and primarily in Telangana. And this time, in fact, we are making some big ticket announcements, and we also have signed some very interesting MOUs. First one I'd like to talk about is the C4IR, the Center for Industrial Revolution focused on life sciences. Rahul, as you know, Hyderabad and Telangana is the life sciences capital of India and also by extension of the world, because we produce 1/3 of global vaccines, 9 billion doses. We also produce 40% of India's pharma. We have India's largest medtech park. So it was only logical that a life sciences center of the World Economic Forum had to be set up in Hyderabad. We're looking forward to some really cutting-edge work there, cell and gene therapy, precision medicine, etc. I really look forward to that because I think that is the next frontier to conquer. Also, a number of other things we can talk about.
No, but you pushed the T-Hub.
Yes.
That was a big passion project of yours. What are the key deliverables the T-Hub has actually managed to land so far? What's come out of the T-Hub?
Well, firstly, I'd say, T-Hub, when we conceptualized it, imagined it, back in 2014, the idea was to spur the innovation ecosystem and the government playing the role of an enabler. Today, T-Hub has not only created 57 other co-working spaces / incubators in the country. Yesterday, in fact, Startup India awarded it as the best incubator in the country. It's the world's largest technology incubator with almost 500,000 square foot of space. Under one roof, you can have 2,000 startups working from. You have mentorship, you have venture capital access, you have access to all the regulators, and incorporating, innovating, and basically incubating. All three aspects covered. The biggest outcome of T-Hub, if you ask me, is the impact that it has been able to create. The first space tech company from India which sent a rocket into space is a T-Hub incubator called Skyroot. Another company from Hyderabad, again, which came out of the startup ecosystem, is Dhruva, which sent nanosatellites into the orbit. So the kind of frontiers these young guys are conquering is extremely heartening, and of course, I'm looking forward to more and more unicorns and sunicorns coming out of T-Hub as well.
When it comes to the level of competitiveness between Indian states, the one thing Karnataka likes to point out frequently is that they get much more foreign direct investment than Telangana does. Despite the efforts that you're making, why is Hyderabad losing out to Bengaluru?
Well, I would say that is a misconception, because last year, according to NASSCOM, out of the 450,000 new jobs created in information technology, 150,000 came from Hyderabad. 146 were created in Bangalore. So the real numbers that matter are employment, and I would be happy to argue with my counterparts in Karnataka and elsewhere. The fact is, Hyderabad now contributes to 1/3 of IT jobs created in India. Our IT exports have gone through the roof from 57,000 crores in 2014 to 1,83,000 crores last year. So we are growing much higher than national average and much more than Bangalore as well. But my competition is not with Bangalore. In fact, I love Bangalore as a city. It's a city that I've actually visited very frequently. I have nothing against them, but the only thing is, of course, they've had a lot of first mover advantage. They started in the 80s, we started in 2000. So we're playing catch up. We're the Pepsi, they're the Coke, so we continue to play catch up. But my best wishes to them, in beating us and moving further up in the employment numbers as well.
How much does the relationship between the state of Telangana and the centre, being fractious in the way that it is, impact your hopes of trying to develop Telangana economically the way you want?
If I have to sum it up in one word, one sentence, if the rest of India performed as well as Telangana did, we would have been a 5 trillion economy already. Because, our per capita was 1,24,000 rupees in 2014. With tenacious efforts, we've achieved 2,78,000 as of last year, which is the highest in the country for any state. That tells you how well we performed. Our GSDP was 5 lakh crores 2014. It was 11.55 lakh crores last year. Our growth rate is the highest in the country, 15% CAGR. Now, if the rest of India performed as well as we did, we would have been a 5 trillion economy, and despite COVID, and despite demonetization, despite an inimical union government, despite all this, we have done this. Had there been support, like you were saying, we would have grown even faster.
But while you're highlighting the gross state domestic product numbers, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman was in Telangana recently, and she highlighted the high level of indebtedness, saying that each child is born with a debt of 1.25 lakh rupees on his head. The union government seems to think you and your government are taking Telangana towards financial ruin through public indebtedness.
Rahul, in fact, Mrs. Sitharaman should correct herself, because I think she was talking about India's debt and not Telangana's debt, because India's debt prior to Narendra Modi ji was 56 lakh crores. Between the 14 prime ministers before Modi ji, the complete debt of India, the national debt, was 56 lakh crores. One Modi ji, in the last 8.5 years, has raised India's debt single-handedly. He added another 100 lakh crores. So today India's debt is about 156 lakh crores. The per child 1,25,000 rupees she was talking about is pan-India, and that is primarily thanks to Nirmala Sitharaman and Narendra Modi ji. And the other thing I also
she gave the numbers for Telangana.
No, I'll tell you.
Okay.
The other thing I also want to talk about is, we are guided by FRBM Act. Since when did the centre respect FRBM Act? Ever since it was formulated or promulgated in 2003 or 4 as an act, the centre has flouted it 19 times in the last 19 years. Let me tell you, as a state, of course, we work under the larger rubric of India, so therefore we have no choice but to comply with the FRBM regulations. And they try and squeeze us once in a while, almost imposing sanctions like we're an enemy state or something. The point is, squeezing us dry and then calling us out saying you're doing something wrong is rather imbecile.
How are you being squeezed dry? Because you get your fair share of GST collections, for example, and all of what the centre has to give to the state. So how are you accusing the centre of squeezing you dry, Kitia?
Well, two things. Firstly, Telangana has contributed 3,68,000 crores to the union kitty in the last 8.5 years. What we get back in the form of devolution and others is only 1,68,000 crores. So we contribute more to the nation than what we get back. But we don't have any grouse against it. We are not saying we should get back every single rupee and more. But when Nirmala Sitharaman comes to Telangana and says, PDS की दुकान में मोदी जी का तस्वीर क्यों नहीं लगाया, तो मैं भी पूछ सकता हूँ, पूरे हिंदुस्तान में तेलंगाना को थैंक्स कहते हुए आप भी लगा दो बोर्ड, क्योंकि हम 2 लाख करोड़ हमने contribute किया. She doesn't want to say answer that. The other thing I also wanted to point out, see, we are guided by FRBM regulations. My debt GSDP is only 24%. India's national debt, GDP versus debt ratio is 65%. So who's she preaching? Somebody who's actually performing far worse than us. Somebody who's actually, given this country the highest inflation in 45 years, the highest unemployment in 30 years, comes and preaches to us, and with 100 lakh crore debt, comes and preaches fiscal prudence to us.
No, but
it's a joke.
Let's look at the RBI.
And how else are we being squeezed? The debt that is raised by the corporations in Telangana, state-owned corporation, is also unfortunately now rules are being redrafted, midway that is. Now they're saying even the corporation debt has to be factored under FRBM, and therefore the state's borrowings have to be curtailed. So this sort of negative attitude and inimical attitude is only going to hamper the growth of the country. This is exactly why this whole dream that was shown, that 5 trillion economy, has not been fulfilled. 2022 तक हर किसी को घर मिलना था, हर किसी के घर में पानी आना था, हर किसी के पास बुलेट ट्रेन या एक ट्रैवल करने की सुविधा होनी थी, और ये उन्होंने ये भी कहा था कि 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी हो जाएगा. क्या हुआ? 2023 में हम लोग बैठे, पूछो निर्मला जी से.
But if you look at the RBI bulletin that came out, it says that for 9 days in October, you actually had an overdraft. Now, a lot of people who look
Why
at...
don't we talk about the fiscal deficit of Government of India? Why don't we talk about the 100 lakh crores of Government of India? RBI किसके जरिए काम करती है सबको पता है. RBI क्या लिखती है सबको पता है. इस देश में क्या हो रहा है सबको पता है. Institutions are being abused like never before in the country. CBI, EDs, or ITs, RBIs, every institution literally is at the beck and call of a couple of people in Delhi. So Rahul, please don't give me this whole sanctimonious ceremonial क्या बोलते हैं उसको lecture on fiscal prudence and things like that. We are performing far better than the rest of the country, definitely far better than the non-performing alliance in Delhi. So we certainly believe that they have a few things to learn from us and not the other way around.
So I see you started by making your investment pitch. You're very quickly pulling out your political sword as well and are ready to have a go at Prime Minister Modi. There's a big election coming up.
See, he's the most inefficient, incompetent Prime Minister the country has seen. The reason why I say this is very simple. Because he's single-handedly contributed to India's largest inflation ever. He single-handedly contributed to largest unemployment ever.
But inflation is a global phenomenon. Russia, Ukraine, look at interest.
जब मोदी जी चीफ मिनिस्टर थे, then why did he speak about devaluation of currency? क्या क्या बोला था उन्होंने? आपके रिकॉर्ड में से निकालो. अगर तब वो सही थे, अब गलत है क्या हमारा बोलना? तब क्या कहा था उन्होंने? जब डॉलर 60 रुपए पे था, मोदी जी ने लेक्चर दिया कि इनकॉम्पिटेंट गवर्नमेंट है दिल्ली में, नालायक गवर्नमेंट है, करप्ट गवर्नमेंट है. अब कौन है दिल्ली में? तो पिछले 8 साल से तो आप हो. अब नालायक कौन है, करप्ट कौन है? वी आर जस्ट कॉलिंग आउट प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी यूजिंग चीफ मिनिस्टर मोदीज वर्ड्स. आई एम नॉट सेइंग एनीथिंग न्यू. सो पॉइंट आई एम ट्राइंग टू मेक राहुल इज टू लेक्चर अदर्स and to give the spiel that I've done something truly out of the ordinary is silly, because numbers say otherwise. He is the most inefficient, incompetent Prime Minister India has seen. The 15 Prime Ministers that we've had. Single-handedly he's destroyed India's economy by something called demonetization. Let me also remind you, Rahul. Now they might take recourse under COVID. मैं आपको याद दिलाना चाहता हूँ. कोविड से 8 क्वार्टर, कोविड से पहले जो 8 क्वार्टर थे, इकोनॉमी स्लो होते गया. स्लो डाउन से लेके आके लॉकडाउन में गिरा दिया. फिर आज क्या हुआ? नतीजा यह है कि 3 ट्रिलियन. अब उसका भी छोटी सी बात का पतंगड़ बना के बोलते हैं 5th लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमी.
एंड द फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग एज वेल. फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग.
बेसलाइन अगर आपका छोटा है तो फास्ट ही तो होगा. बेस ही गलत है आपका तो फास्ट ही होगा. कल रघुराम राजन से मेरी बात हो रही थी. तो पॉइंट इज राहुल, ये जो आंकड़े दिखा के लोगों को गुमराह करने की जो कोशिश करते हैं, वो चाहे थोड़े लोग उसमें फंस जाएंगे. हम समझाने की कोशिश करेंगे हिंदुस्तान को कि जो बोला जा रहा है, जो दिखाया जा रहा है, गलत है सरासर. ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स में हमारी रैंक क्या है राहुल? मोदी जी आने से पहले 88 था, आज 107 है. तो क्या बात कर रहे हो? फूड सिक्योरिटी की बात करते हैं, कुछ और बात करते हैं. विच इंडेक्स हैज इंडिया इंप्रूव्ड अंडर मोदी? कैन यू प्लीज टेल मी? कैन यू प्लीज एजुकेट मी? 82 रुपीस है पर डॉलर. फिर क्या हुआ?
ग्लोबल डिवैल्यूएशन ऑफ करेंसी.
तो जब उनका दौर नहीं था तब ग्लोबल कुछ नहीं था. तब इंडियन गवर्नमेंट वाज करप्ट, इनएफिशिएंट, निनकम्पूप. अभी क्या हो रहा है फिर?
Explain the national ambitions of the BRS. You've changed the name from the TRS to the Bharatiya Rashtriya Samiti. There's a big rally taking place. Arvind Kejriwal, Bhagwant Mann, a lot of opposition leaders there. What's the message the BRS is trying to send to the people of India?
The messaging is very clear. We want India to understand that India and China both had a similar sized economy in 1987. But China is at 16 trillion now, India is languishing at 3 trillion. What went wrong? Despite all the tall dreams that were shown, despite all the nice things that we were told कि 2014 के बाद मैजिक हो जाएगा और देश एकदम अमेरिका जैसा हो जाएगा, अमेरिकन लोग खड़े रहेंगे लाइन में वीसा लेने के लिए इंडिया का. क्या हुआ? आज हिंदुस्तान की क्या हालत है? अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट हो, इन्फ्लेशन हो, जो कोई भी इंडिकेटर ले लो आप, दुनिया में we languish and we are unfortunately not able to seize the moment. The point we are trying to make is this whole polarization tactics which might get you votes will not help the country grow. It will not solve the unemployment problem. That is the agenda we want to set to the country. We want to give the message to our fellow countrymen that if a state like Telangana can perform and grow at 15%, can complete a drinking water connection to each and every home, can give absolutely free power to the farmers across, can give farm input assistance, and can complete the world's largest lift irrigation project in 4 years, why is the country not doing the same elsewhere? This should be the debate. Unemployment, job creation, wealth creation. Unfortunately, वो सब छोड़ के पाकिस्तान को दिखा के, अफगानिस्तान को दिखा के, बांग्लादेश को दिखा के, मुसलमान को दिखा के, माइनॉरिटी को दिखा के उसको दुश्मन बना के जो वोट लेने वाली वोट हड़पने वाली पोलराइजेशन है, ये सरासर गलत है, हिंदुस्तान के हित में नहीं है.
How feasible is the idea of opposition unity in your mind? Because everybody has their own agenda, they have their own fiefdoms which they want to protect and nurture. Can the opposition truly come together to take on the BJP?
See, stranger things have happened in India before. See, nobody even gave a chance to the opposition in 2004. Everybody thought Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji was invincible. India was shining back then, remember? But the unthinkable has happened. So who knows? And the thing is,
it's something that you want to work very hard towards between now and next.
The narrative. See, Rahul, it's not just about power. It's not just about dislodging somebody. It's about ensuring that the country, in fact, focuses on the right issues. There is no debate on unemployment. There is no debate on inflation. There's no debate on being the country with the largest LPG price in the world. No debate on that. बात करते हैं हम लोग कुछ और चीज की जो अनइम्पोर्टेंट है, इनकॉन्सिक्वेंशियल है. तो हम लोग चाहते हैं कि सही चीज पे चर्चा हो, मीडिया भी हमारी मदद करे थोड़ा बहुत. हमसे हमेशा इसी बात की नहीं कि कोई किसी ने वहां पे एयर इंडिया में ये कर दिया या फलाना जगह कुछ और हो गया.
आपका पूरा इंटरव्यू चल रहा है लाइव, आप ऐसे बोल रहे हैं.
ये तो रिकॉर्ड है. तो
नहीं बट चल रहा है, ऐसे थोड़ी होता है.
राहुल जी क्या दिखाएंगे?
ना क्यों, लास्ट टाइम यू सॉ वी रैन द होल इंटरव्यू. ऑफ कोर्स
थैंकफुल टू यू.
No, but there is also a big election in Telangana. Yes. And the BJP thinks between the last election and now, they've been able to gain ground in Telangana, and after Karnataka, Telangana will be in the BJP's mind the second state they win.
See, I'm going to go on a limb out here and say that they are also losing Karnataka. They will also lose Telangana. In Telangana last time, out of the 119 assembly seats, they've lost their deposits in 108. So for them to think and say that they've gained a lot of ground. मुझे बचपन में एक सीरियल याद आ रही है, मुंगेरी लाल के हसीन सपने. हाँ, सपने तो सारे देख सकते हैं, गलती कोई नहीं. But the thing is, you also have to get assessment of ground realities. Yes, it is a fact. Congress has lost the plot in Telangana and elsewhere in the country. So they might have these ambitions कि कांग्रेस का जो जगह था हम लोग ले लेंगे, वो शायद हो सकता है. But to think and assume that they'll actually come to rule in Telangana, I'll ask you one simple question. Let any BJP leader answer this across the country. Let them tell me or the people of Telangana one thing that they've done for Telangana. मोदी जी पिछले 6 महीने में गुजरात गए कई बार, 70 बार या 75 बार, पता नहीं, आपको भी याद नहीं होगा. 1,80,000 करोड़ का प्रोजेक्ट अनाउंस किया वहां पे, इतने सारे फाउंडेशन डाल दिए. तेलंगाना में क्या किया उन्होंने? एक काम बताओ, जो प्रॉमिस किया वही नहीं निभाया, तो किस मुंह लेके वोट मांगने आएंगे?
No, but in the recent municipal elections in the area around Hyderabad, they gave your party, the TRS at that time, a real fright, and they think that they have therefore made enough headway to be able to make this a really tight election, a really tightly contested election.
Like I said, Rahul, Congress has lost the plot. If they have gained some ground, it is at the Congress's expense. The TRS still won the corporation election, let me remind you.
Yeah.
And we've won a lot of elections in between the last general election and now. So therefore, सपना कोई भी कुछ भी देख लें, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. लोग, तेलंगाना के जनता जो है, जब तक हमारे साथ हैं, I have a strong feeling that KCR ji will be the first South Indian Chief Minister to do a hat-trick. No Chief Minister in South India has won on 3 consecutive terms on a trot. I think KCR will deliver that.
What do you think of Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra? Went through Telangana as it is through the rest of the state. It seems to have got a good response in Telangana and elsewhere as well, at least as far as people coming out to support him is concerned.
I only have one question to you, Rahul. The thing is, I understand what Mr. Gandhi is trying to do. Trying to basically ensure that Congress doesn't just decimate itself and kind of annihilate itself. But the fact is, political decisions and political knack also matters. You're walking across the country. There is an election happening in Gujarat. You bypass the entire state and you're walking in other states. I don't get the logic of it. What will the Congress cadre in Gujarat think? Will they not think that this gentleman has actually completely surrendered himself to Modi ji? The point is, what is the objective of this yatra if it is not giving you any political dividends at the end of the day? Bharat जोड़ो ठीक है, पहले कांग्रेस तो जोड़ो. आप चल रहे हो केरला में, आपके 8 MLA गोवा में निकल गए, बीजेपी में शामिल हो गए. किसको जोड़ रहे हो आप? पहले कांग्रेस को तो जोड़ो.
In the national narrative that you're trying to...
Breaking news coming in. There is a protest that is going on between Indian wrestlers and federation officials in the national capital. Listen in.
मीटिंग हुआ है, इतना झगड़ा हुआ है, उसके बाद मेरा और बजरंग का नाम लिस्ट में आया है. रैंकिंग के लिए हमने नाम बोला कि रैंकिंग में प्लीज हमारा नाम डाल दीजिए, क्योंकि हमारा ये सीजन शुरू हुआ है. तो बोल रहे हैं कि आप हमें फिटनेस टेस्ट दो. क्या 10 सालों तक हमने इनफ फिटनेस टेस्ट नहीं दिया है मैट के ऊपर? क्या पीवी सिंधु जब इंजरी के बाद आई है उसने फिटनेस टेस्ट दिया आने से पहले? क्या नीरज चोपड़ा को इंजरी हुई थी, उन्होंने फिटनेस टेस्ट दिया था? हर एक एथलीट इंजरी के बाद आता है तो इतना फिट नहीं रहता है, सबको पता, लेकिन हम वही देखने के लिए तो खेलते हैं ना कि हम कितना फिट हैं, कितना अनफिट हैं।
तो अब आप लोगों की डिमांड्स क्या है? आप चाहते हैं कि प्रेसिडेंट को रिमूव किया जाए या क्या किया जाए? अगर स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्टर
देखिए, रिक्वेस्ट कर करके हम थक चुके हैं। कितनी बार रिक्वेस्ट करें, क्योंकि कई साल से चल रहा है ये चीजें। अब हम खिलाड़ियों को कोचेज बोल रहे हैं, फिजियो बोल रहे हैं। विनेश ने बताया टोक्यो ओलंपिक में, आप सभी को पता था मेरे नी में इंजरी थी। ओलंपिक तक मेरे पूरा फोकस रहा। सभी अपना क्रेडिट के लिए फेडरेशन ने बहुत मदद करी, क्योंकि हमें बोला जाता है कि फेडरेशन का नाम लीजिए आप, कि आप मदद करी है, ट्वीट करवाते हैं। तो उन्होंने मेरे से ट्वीट करवाया। टोक्यो ओलंपिक के आने के बाद किसी ने पूछा? 6 महीने तक मैंने खुद ट्रेनिंग करी, खुद रिहैब किया, लेकिन किसी ने नहीं पूछा कि आप कैसे कर रहे हो,
डिमांड क्या है?
और वही बता रहा हूँ, अभी कोचेज के लिए बोल रहे हैं, फिजियो के लिए बोल रहे हैं। उन्होंने क्या बोला कि भाई इंडिया में कोई फॉरेनर कोच नहीं आएगा। चलो अच्छी बात है, हमारे कोचेज कमजोर नहीं आएगा, पर अपनी खुद ही पर्सनल एकेडमी में वो फॉरेनर कोच लेके आ रहे हैं, जब हमारे इंडिया में कोच नहीं है। जो पर्सनल चीजें होती हैं उनमें तो वो बेस्ट से बेस्ट करेंगे, और जो खिलाड़ी हैं जिनको चाहिए होता है उनको वो बोला हमारे इंडिया में बेहतर कोच हैं।
डिमांड बताइए बजरंग।
डिमांड यही है कि खिलाड़ी, देखिए ये हमारे साथ हो रहा है, जो कई साल से रिजल्ट दे रहे हैं। हम 2013 से मैं सीनियर कैंप में हूँ, 2012 में आया था, मैं तब से रिजल्ट दे रहा हूँ, और विनय सर भी तब से हैं। तो आज तक हमने कोई ऐसा टूर्नामेंट नहीं किया हमने देश के लिए मेडल ना जीता हो। हमारी डिमांड जो है, हम वो उनको ये नहीं बोल रहे कि हमारा घर बना के दीजिए आप, या हमारे को अच्छी गाड़ियाँ दीजिए। जो रेसलिंग के रिलेटेड होती है वही चीजें हम उनसे मांगते हैं, वो हमारी पूरी नहीं हो पाती।
जैसे कि अच्छे कोच जो नेशनल कैंप में जो कोच होते हैं, मैंने इतना रिक्वेस्ट किया अभी चीफ कोच के लिए, जो कोचेज होते हैं वो खुद लड़कियों का शोषण करते हैं, महिला कोचों के साथ में बुरा बर्ताव करते हैं।
ये जो बात आप कह रही हैं विनेश जी, शोषण वाली, ये आपके जानकारी में कुछ ऐसा आया है?
मैं
नेशनल कैंप है, जूनियर्स का है, कोई सीनियर खिलाड़ी है?
नेशनल कैंप्स में जो कोचेज होते हैं, सभी कोच नहीं है उसमें, लेकिन कुछ कोचेज हैं जो फेडरेशन के खास हैं, जो खुद शोषण करते हैं, महिला कोचों के साथ में गलत व्यवहार करते हैं। उसकी मैंने आवाज उठाई है इस बार, और उसके बावजूद भी वही चीफ कोच नेशनल कैंप में लगाए गए हैं।
अच्छा,
हाँ जी, जी।
एक आपने कोचेस की बात बोली, दूसरा और
जी
डिमांड,
और वही कोचेस जो कैंप में लड़कियां होती हैं उनके साथ में बातचीत करवाते हैं लड़कियों की, शोषण करवाने के लिए ही। और अध्यक्ष जी ने खुद पता नहीं कितनी लड़कियों का शोषण किया आज तक।
आप खुद कह रहे हैं कि
आप बहुत सारे जो स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिस्ट हैं उनको पता है, उनके पास कोई प्रूफ नहीं है, कोई बोल नहीं पाता है। बहुत सारे जर्नलिस्ट लोगों ने मैं बोला है जी, जो कोचेज होते हैं जो हमारे वुमेन्स कैंप में, उनमें से कुछ कोचेज, सभी नहीं है, महिलाओं के साथ भी और लड़कियों के साथ भी, और वही लड़कियों से बात करवाते हैं, और फिर अध्यक्ष जी उनके साथ में शोषण करते हैं। और पता नहीं हजारों तो नहीं बोलूं मैं, 100 लड़कियां, और मैं यहाँ पे जो लोग लड़कियां बैठी हैं उसमें से 1-2 लड़की के साथ भी ये घटना हुई है जी।
यहाँ पे जो बैठी है
जी,
पहले क्यों नहीं आवाज उठाई?
आप कितने पावरफुल लोग हैं जी भाई, आप कितने पावरफुल लोग हैं?
बताया कि
आज मैंने बोला है, मेरे को नहीं पता कल मेरी लाइफ रहेगी नहीं रहेगी।
विनेश, माफ कीजिएगा सवाल, जब आप बोल रहे कि यहाँ पे कुछ लड़कियाँ बैठी हैं, क्या हुआ उनमें से
जी
कौन?
जी नहीं, हम कई माने पे बोलेंगे ना, नहीं नाम नहीं लेंगे किसी का भी, हमारी भी इज्जत है। हम लड़कियां हैं, हम हिंदुस्तान में सीरियस एलिगेशन सर हम ऐसे नहीं लगाते, लड़कियां हमारी इज्जत है। हम देश के लिए, हम देश हमारे को ऊंची नजरों से देखता, हम अपने उनकी नजरों में गिरवाने के लिए
कोर्ट से आएंगे या किसी भी थ्रू आएंगे तो वो
सब चीजें हम बताएंगे, जरूर बताएंगे। नाम भी कम से कम मैं 10 से 20 लड़कियों के नाम बता सकती हूँ नेशनल कैंप में, जो मैंने आज तक 10 सालों में जो देखा, जिन्होंने अपनी स्टोरी मेरे को बताई है बैठ के सामने कि हमारे साथ ऐसे हुआ है, ऐसे हुआ है। लेकिन वो लड़कियों में इतनी हिम्मत नहीं सामने आने की, क्योंकि फैमिली बैकग्राउंड अच्छा नहीं है, क्योंकि वो इनसे लड़ नहीं सकती, क्योंकि पावरफुल नहीं है। और हम आज इतनी इस हद पे हैं कि हम नहीं चाहते कि मेरे को आज कुश्ती खत्म कर दो भगवान की दया से, मेरे पास घर है, खाने को रोटी है, लेकिन मैं नहीं चाहती कि हमारी आने वाली जनरेशन इस दर्द से गुजरे या इस दौर से गुजरे, इस दलदल में फंसे। रेसलिंग को बचाने हम यहाँ पे आए हैं। सिर्फ हमारी मोटिवेशन है कि हमें लड़कियां, मैं लड़की हूँ,
हमें क्या, हम तो 1-2 साल और कर लेंगे, ठीक, हम काफी सीनियर्स हैं, लेकिन हमारे आगे आने वाला भविष्य,
हम अपनी कुश्ती को बचाने के लिए लड़ रहे हैं। हम अपने लिए नहीं लड़ रहे हैं, हम अपनी कुश्ती को बचाने के लिए लड़ रहे हैं,
क्योंकि
आप लोगों ने हमें बहुत प्यार दिया, देशवासियों ने खूब प्यार किया है, और हमने हर जगह मेडल जीता है। भगवान करे हम 2024 है उसमें भी हम देश के लिए मेडल जीते, पर जो टॉर्चर चल रहा है खिलाड़ियों के ऊपर, उस हिसाब से मुझे नहीं लगता कि
कुश्ती में कुछ भी होने वाला
आ
आगे बढ़ने
सकता
वाला।
है।
विनेश, आपने अभी बोला कि हम पहले इसलिए नहीं बोल पाए क्योंकि उनके पास रुतबा भी है, पावर भी है, पैसा भी है।
जी।
सडनली अब जो आपकी हिम्मत है,
जी।
ये हिम्मत कैसे आप लोगों ने जुटाई, अभी बात कर रही है।
सर, जब पानी सिर से ऊपर निकल जाता है, अभी हमारे पास जिंदा रहने को कुश्ती है और कुश्ती हमें वो करने नहीं दे रहे हैं। मरने हमारे पास एक ऑप्शन है, मरना है तो मरना है, तो कम से कम भला करके तो मरे।
इधर रिसेंटली कुछ हुआ है क्या? इधर कुछ हुआ है क्या जिसकी वजह से?
इधर किधर
मतलब
डेली होता है सर, डेली होता है सर। बहुत जब से अध्यक्ष जी को हम जानते हैं तब से हम यही कहानियां सुन रहे हैं। और मैं बता रही हूँ ना, यहाँ बैठी लड़कियों के साथ भी अगर हुआ है तो उनमें से कोई एक दो तो है ही।
हमारा कैंप लखनऊ होता है, हमने बहुत बार रिक्वेस्ट किया कि सर हमारा
लखनऊ में कैंप क्यों लगाया जाता है? हमने प्रधानमंत्री जी से लेके हमने खेल मंत्री जी से हमने सबको रिक्वेस्ट करके हमने लेटर भी बनाया
है, वहाँ शोषण इजीली हो पाए और उनका वहाँ रीच इजीली।
मोस्टली रेसलर है या यूपी से है या इधर से है, हरियाणा से है, सब अलाउड नहीं है, पेरेंट्स अलाउड नहीं है।
हमारी निजी जिंदगी में दखलंदाजी करते हैं कि मैंने किससे शादी कर ली, कौन मेरा बॉयफ्रेंड है, कौन मेरी गर्लफ्रेंड है, बजरंग ने किससे शादी कर ली, अभी शादी क्यों कर रहे हो। मतलब हमारी निजी जिंदगी में भी उनका दखलंदाज इतना है कि हमारी फैमिली तक की उनको खबर रहनी चाहिए कि हमारी फैमिली में भी कौन जी रहा है, कौन मर रहा है।
अब कब तक आप लोग प्रोटेस्ट पे हैं आगे?
जब तक उनको नहीं हटाया जाएगा बिल्कुल, और हम ये कुश्ती का भविष्य है, ये सुरक्षित हाथों में नहीं जाएगा, तब तक हम यही हैं, चाहे हमें मरना पड़ जाए, जीना पड़ जाए।
धरना कंटिन्यू रहेगा, ये साल बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है बजरंग भाई।
भाई देखिए,
तो क्या कम्प्लीटली
बिल्कुल भाई, हम कोई भी टूर्नामेंट नहीं खेलेंगे चाहे, क्योंकि हम अपनी कुश्ती का भविष्य अंधकार में नहीं डाल सकते। अगर हमने आवाज उठाई है तो हम अपनी कुश्ती को दोबारा से जिंदा करवा के ही छोड़ेंगे, चाहे उसके लिए हमें कुछ भी करना पड़े।
जब तक W5 प्रेसिडेंट को नहीं हटाया जाता है, आप में से कोई भी किसी भी कंपटीशन में पार्ट नहीं लेगा।
कोई बात नहीं, धरने पे बैठे रहेंगे।
आप बताइए ना, जो बंदा इतने सब अगर कर्म कर रहा है, इतने अच्छे कर्म जो कर रहा है, उसको अध्यक्ष पद पे रहने का एक है क्या अधिकार है? कितनी ही मैं बता रही हूँ, कितनी ही लड़कियों की स्टोरी मेरे को पता है जिन्होंने सामने बैठ के रो के हमें स्टोरियां सुनाई है नेशनल कैंप में, लेकिन हम कर क्या सकते हैं?
बजरंग, विनेश, आपने स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्ट्री से कोई बात करने की कोशिश की है? कुछ बात हुई है वहाँ पर?
अभी हमने किसी से बात नहीं करी है, और अभी हम कॉन्फ्रेंस आप लोग पहुंचाएंगे वो चीजें, तो वो सभी देखें। हमारी रिक्वेस्ट सिर्फ प्रधानमंत्री जी से और गृह मंत्री जी से है कि हम उनसे मुलाकात करके हम अपना सारा जो आप नाम पूछ रहे थे, हम उनके सामने वो चीजें बता भी सकते हैं, और वो ही इस चीज मुद्दे को हटा सकते हैं।
मतलब लड़कियों के नाम जो जिनके साथ
जी।
बजरंग, ये भी है कि आप जहाँ तक देखा गया है कि जब कभी भी है ना खिलाड़ी फेडरेशन के अगेंस्ट में आके खड़े हो जाते हैं तो फेडरेशन उनके पीछे पड़ जाती है। ठीक है, आप लोगों तो अपने करियर के उस पड़ाव पे है कि जहाँ 1-2 साल और, बट काफी यंग जो आपके साथ अब बैठे, जैसे सोनम है, अंशु है, जिनका करियर भी बहुत आगे, वो लोग भी कहीं।
आपको क्या लगता है सर, जिस तरह से शोषण हो रहा है, ये लोग वहाँ तक पहुँच पाएंगे क्या? मैं कितना
फेडरेशन करियर खत्म करने पे आ जाती है।
मेरा तो अभी तक ओलंपिक्स में मेडल नहीं आया है, मैं 2024 की तैयारी करी हूँ। मैं कोई बहुत ज्यादा सीनियर या मेरी ओवरेज नहीं हुई है, लेकिन मैं फिर भी आई हूँ ओलंपिक्स के लिए। मैं जी रही मर रही हूँ। अगर मेरा मेडल नहीं आया ना, तो शायद मैं ये भी सोचूं कि मैं मर भी जाऊँ उस मेडल के लिए। कोई ये भी बोल रहा है मरने के बाद वो मेडल मिलेगा, वो मरने को भी तैयार उस मेडल के लिए। वो बंदा मेरे को हर दिन मेंटली टॉर्चर कर रहा है, हर दिन, हर एक चीज के लिए। हर कोई भी परमिशन है, नाम लेना है, हर दिन पैरों में गिड़गिड़ाओ, भीख मांगो, ये करो वो करो। तो मर्जी हैं जो हमारे रेसलिंग में असिस्टेंट सेक्रेटरी के पोस्ट पे वो बैठे हैं। जो भी बच्चे जाते हैं, कभी उनको गिफ्ट देते हैं, कभी घी देते हैं, कभी दूध देते हैं, कभी पैसे देते हैं, तब उनके नाम डालते हैं कैंप में। कोचेज के नाम डालते हैं इंटरनेशनल कैंप के लिए पैसे लेके। जो टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स में जो वुमेन्स टीम के साथ में जो एक कोच गया था, राजीव तोमर, वो उनको वुमेन्स रेसलिंग का कुछ भी नहीं पता, ना कभी वो हमारी टीम के साथ में थे कभी भी, क्योंकि उनको रेलवे में प्रमोशन होना था तो उनको टोक्यो ओलंपिक से भेज दिया गया पैसे लेके, और उसके बाद में हमारा क्या रिजल्ट रहा? 0। ना हमारे साथ फिजियो है, ना हमारे पास कोई भी अच्छा कोच है, तो रिजल्ट क्या रहेगा?
अच्छा विनेश, इस बार टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स में वैसे देखिए बहुत सारी बातें हमें पता है, लेकिन कुछ ऐसी चीज जो आप यहाँ बताना चाहें जो अभी पर्दे के पीछे है, जिसका हमारे रेसलिंग के मेडल्स पे असर आया हो? मतलब आप
जी, मैंने बता दिया कि हमारे पास फिजियो नहीं था, तो टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स में कोविड का
पहले कुछ बोला गया हो आपको ऐसा जिससे आप डिस्टर्ब हुई हो?
जो कोचेज लगाए जाते हैं ना, वो आपको हर दिन ब्रेक करते हैं मेंटली। जो कोचेज हमारे साथ में थे वो मेंटली आपको ब्रेक करें, हर दिन आपको कीड़े की तरह खा रहे हैं, आपको पता भी नहीं लगता कि कब खा गई। आपकी हर चीज को अनडिसिप्लिन करार दिया जाता है। आप पानी भी अगर उनकी परमिशन के बिना पी लिया ना, तो आप अनडिसिप्लिन हो उनकी नजरों में। फिर आपको फेडरेशन कॉल करके बोलेगी कि आपने पानी कैसे पी लिया हमारे बिना पूछे।
आप ये बताइए, किसी भी फेडरेशन किसी एमपी की कोठी में है? उसका स्पेशल पर्सनल ऑफिस होता है। पर रेसलिंग फेडरेशन जो है वो प्रेसिडेंट के घर पे है।
बट इस बारे में आप लोगों ने कभी भी स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्टर किसी को संज्ञान में क्यों नहीं लेकर आए ये बात? ठीक है भाई, फेडरेशन प्रेसिडेंट तो पावरफुल है,
वही बोल रहे ना, मारने तक की धमकियां आ रही हैं। तो कौन बच्चा खिलाड़ी, कौन बच्चा,
अगर इधर हम जितने भी एथलीट है ना, हमारे साथ अगर कुछ भी होगा ना कल को, तो अध्यक्ष जी मान लेना कि अध्यक्ष जी ने ही किया है। इतने पावरफुल बंदे हैं, हम आज सामने आए हैं, तो हम, मैं बता देना, आगे कुआ पीछे खाई, हम मरने के लिए तैयार हैं।
सोच समझ के आए आगे सभी प्लेयर।
और हम पीछे हटने वाले
लोग
नहीं हैं।
पूछ रहे थे कि कितने जने अपना करियर दाव पे लगा के आए हैं। कईयों के पास तो नौकरी भी नहीं है, स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं नौकरी के लिए, पर करियर दाव पे लगा के भी यहाँ आए।
बजरंग गणेश आप दोनों ने कहा कि हमको मारने की धमकी दी गई, उसका कारण क्या बताएगा? क्यों दी गई, क्या कारण है?
क्योंकि मैंने प्रधानमंत्री जी को उनकी शिकायत कर दी थी, जो मेरे साथ हुआ था। टोक्यो के बाद में उन्होंने मेरे को बुलाया था, जब मैं मेरी फैमिली के साथ गई थी, उन्होंने मेरे को अच्छा टाइम दिया। मेरे को वही समझ में नहीं आता ना कि देश के प्रधानमंत्री अपने घर पे भी आपको बुलाने का टाइम दे रहे हैं, आपकी फैमिली से मिल रहे हैं, उन्होंने मेरे को मिलने तक का टाइम नहीं दिया। मेरी फैमिली ने, मेरे हस्बैंड ने, मैंने इतना रिक्वेस्ट किया। मैं बजरंग को पूछो, जब मैं मोदी जी के प्रोग्राम में गई थी, बजरंग के सामने मैं रोने लगी थी। बजरंग ने भी बोला कि सर बात तो करो, उन्होंने मेरे से बात तक नहीं की।
मैंने बोला था, मगा जी बालक है, माफ कर दो, कोई नहीं, आप ही के बच्चे हैं, आप भी तो कुश्ती के लिए काम कर रहे हो। पर फिर भी बोला कि भाई नहीं, ज्यादा हवा में उड़ रहे हैं, ये थोड़ा कंट्रोल होने दो इनको।
क्योंकि आपने वो इशू पीएम के सामने रेज किया
जी, तो जी कि आप जाके या तो उनसे बात कर लो जाके अध्यक्ष जी से, नहीं तो आपको या तो आपका करियर खत्म ही कर देंगे रेसलिंग से, आप भूल ही जाना रेसलिंग करना, तो क्या ही होता है। फेडरेशन से नहीं, फेडरेशन के लोगों से फोन आए हमारे पास।
कभी नेताजी ने डायरेक्टली
जी नहीं, उनके खास लोग बहुत है जी, उनको जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ती।
मैडम आप लोग देश की शान है, आप गंभीर आरोप लगा रही है कि जान से मारने की धमकी मिल रही है, यौन शोषण कर रहा है अध्यक्ष। तो जब आप इतनी हिम्मत जुटा रहे कि आप मीडिया से बात कर रहे हैं, क्या इसकी पुलिस में शिकायत आप लोग देंगे और अब तक क्यों नहीं दी है?
सर हम आपको वही बता रहे हैं कि इतनी हिम्मत जुटा के हम पहली बार हम रेसलर इकट्ठा हुए हैं। सब रेसलर इतने डरते थे कि अगर हमने एक दूसरे से बात भी कर ली ना तो पता नहीं क्या ही हो जाएगा। मैंने बजरंग को बता दिया ना, क्या मतलब ऐसे चल रहा है।
करेंगे क्या पुलिस में कंप्लेंट?
देखिए जितना भी होगा पॉसिबल हम सब कुछ करेंगे। अभी अब इतना ओपन में ही आ गए हैं, तो अभी तो हम
प्राइम मिनिस्टर से या फिर स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्टर से यहाँ से आप लोग क्या अपील करना चाहिए?
अपील तो यही है कि स्पोर्ट्स में ऐसे लोग नहीं होने चाहिए, और इतना हैरेसमेंट जब हमने सहा है तो किसी भी स्पोर्ट्स में ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, सिर्फ रेसलिंग में नहीं। और प्रेसिडेंट को जी हटाना चाहिए।
जो भी चीज प्रधानमंत्री जी और गृह मंत्री जी बात करेंगे,
जी सिर्फ रेसलिंग
से बात करेंगे।
फेडरेशन के खिलाफ में हमारी शिकायत है।
हम नहीं चाहते कि रेसलिंग का जो भविष्य वो किसी दोबारा से ऐसे हाथों में जाए। जो खिलाड़ी बैठे हैं यहाँ पे, जो खिलाड़ी हमारे पुराने खिलाड़ी हैं, सभी साथ में। ये नहीं कि हम यहाँ 20-30 लोग बैठे तो हम ही साथ में हैं। अगर हमें भीड़ इकट्ठा करना है ना, हम नहीं चाहते कि भाई यहाँ पे प्रदर्शन करें या लोगों को परेशान करें, हम वो चीज़ नहीं चाहते। तो हम इसलिए चाहते हैं कि भाई एक शांतिपूर्वक जो एक मुद्दा है उसको निपटाया जा सके। नहीं तो अगर भीड़ करनी होगी तो कल को यहाँ 2-3 हज़ार आदमी जो रेसलिंग करते हैं बच्चे, पर हम नहीं चाह रहे क्योंकि उनकी ट्रेनिंग डिस्टर्ब होगी। हम लड़ रहे हैं उन बच्चों के लिए। हमारा कैरियर तो 24 तक का है, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 26 तक कर लेंगे, 28 तक कर लेंगे। 28 से आगे तो हम नहीं जाएंगे। पर जो रेसलिंग का जो भविष्य दब रहा है ना, हम उसको बचाने में लगे हुए हैं।
यहाँ से आप कब जाएंगे?
हम यहाँ से जब जाएंगे जब हमारा फैसला हो जाएगा, न्याय हो जाएगा।
और भी रेसलर्स आपकी इस मुहिम में जुड़ेंगे?
बहुत सारे लोग हैं सर।
अभी हमें किसी को बताया नहीं था।
हम नहीं है जो कंपटीशन नहीं खेलेंगे, हम नहीं है प्रोटेस्ट करने वाले, हम सिर्फ एक चेहरा है उनकी कि हमारे फेस वैल्यू है, इसीलिए हम उनके लिए आए हैं। जैसे कि बजरंग ने बताया, हम तो 28 मैक्सिमम 28 तक कर लेंगे। उसके बाद का फ्यूचर जो जूनियर रेसलर है, जो हमारे खुद के अखाड़े में है,
उन्होंने तो अपने लड़के को बिठा दिया उपाध्यक्ष बना के। दूसरा करण को, शायद करण को बनाया,
पता नहीं मेरे को। हाँ,
किसी लड़के को बनाया, पता नहीं मेरे को।
पता नहीं।
तो जो क्या मतलब सारी जो जैसे सारी घर से ही चलाना चाह रहे हैं फेडरेशन को।
और लड़कियों की छोटी से भी छोटी चीज है ना, वो हमारे
नेशनल कैंप की,
वो हमारे नेता को पता होती है। चाहे हमारे काम में कुछ भी हो वो उनको पता होता है,
क्योंकि वो जी कोचेज ऐसे लगाए जाते हैं ना कि उनको समाचार पत्र बने के मतलब न्यूज रिपोर्टर बने के मिलते हैं कि विनेश ने आज कैसे किया, क्या किया, कैसे बैठी, कैसे चली, वो तक न्यूज आती है। जो हमारे तोमर जी हैं जी,
नेशनल कैंप में जितने रेसलर्स हैं सबके साथ आपकी बात हुई, सब आपके सपोर्ट में यहाँ इसमें
खिलाड़ी
सब तंग है जी, सब
परेशान है। बस वो ये चाह रहे थे कि हमारे आगे कौन खड़ा हो जाए, तो वो हम खड़े हैं जान की परवाह किए बिना। चाहे हमारे साथ कुछ भी हो जाए, हम आगे बढ़ेंगे। अभी नेशनल जो लेटेस्ट नेशनल हुआ था, अभी मैं आपको बता दूं, जो अभी विशाखापट्टनम में हुआ था दिसंबर में, पहले दिन ग्रीको रोमन का था, फ्री स्टाइल का था, दूसरे दिन ग्रीको रोमन का था, तीसरे दिन लड़कियों की कुश्ती थी। मैं खुद गया था क्योंकि संगीता वहाँ पे पार्टिसिपेट कर रही थी। उन्होंने सुबह वजन था 8 से 8.5, उन्होंने उसी दिन जो लड़कियों का जो उस दिन कुश्ती थी उस दिन कर दिया 7 से 7.5। एक लड़की है अंतिम जो अभी जूनियर वर्ल्ड चैंपियन बनी थी, उसका वेट नहीं आया। क्यों नहीं आया? क्योंकि उसको टाइम नहीं मिला। 7 बजे रेसलिंग हॉल खुला, 7 बजे वेट शुरू हो गया, तो वेट कहाँ से घटाएगी वो? ऐसे होटल बच्चे के लिए करते नहीं कि भाई जिम की सुविधा हो, ट्रेनिंग कर ले, वजन कम कर ले। तो वो रूल क्या बताया मगा जी, इस लड़की का वजन रह गया। मैंने खुद फोन किया, मैं इस लड़की का वजन रह गया, बोला भाई ज्यादा वो हो जाएगा प्रॉब्लम। मगा जी 8 से 8:30 बजे का टाइम है, वो आप उसको टाइम दो ना। बोला नहीं आज थोड़ा जल्दी है। मैं किस लिए जल्दी? आज बोला टिकट करवा रखी है जाने की वापसी। अरे भाई आप टूर्नामेंट 3 दिन का करवा रहे हो, आप 23 की जगह 25 का करवा रहे हो, 26 की टिकट करवाओ ना। आप
रूल होता है कि वेट के बाद आपको 2 घंटे का रेस्ट मिलता ही मिलता है।
लेकिन जो रूल है वे अभी जो रैंकिंग सीरीज करवा रखी है गोंडा में, आज आप सभी पत्रकार गेम को फॉलो करते हैं। अभी हमारा रेसलिंग का किसी पहले दिन वजन होता है? डे टू डे होता है, 2 घंटे बाद कुश्ती स्टार्ट हो जाती है। रैंकिंग सीरीज का उन्होंने कैलेंडर निकाल रखा, पहले दिन 5:30 बजे वजन है। तो उनके खुद के रूल हैं। जो बच्चे उसमें पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं उनसे 1000 रुपये एंट्री फीस ली जाती है, रहने का, खाने का, आने जाने का वो खुद पे करते हैं। तो क्या मिलता बच्चों को? जो स्पॉन्सर बैठे हैं वो इनको दे रहे हैं कि भाई आप बच्चों तक पहुंचाओ, बच्चों तक जो बच्चों के पास है वो वापस ले रहे हैं बच्चों को देने की वजह।
सब 1000 रुपए नहीं दे सकते, और अगर 1000 रुपए नहीं दिए तो बैन और फिर माफी भी नहीं मिलेगी।
हम भाई समाधान चाहते हैं कि फेडरेशन का
वन रिएक्शन सर, बजरंग पुनिया एंड ऑल सर वो प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे हैं, सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट का भी सर उन्होंने एलिगेशन लगवाया कोच के ऊपर। सर क्या आप उनकी बात सुनेंगे? अनुराग सर वन रिएक्शन सर, सर एथलीट से बात करेंगे आप सर प्लीज। सर सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट का केस है सर, सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट। So, as you can see, the Honorable Sports Minister, he refused to answer our questions on the allegations that were being made by the wrestlers against the Wrestler Federation of India. Grave allegations being made about sexual harassment by coaches, but not a statement that's coming in from the Sports Minister. With video journalist Shailendra, this is Shreya Chatterjee for India Today.
Big story coming in. Wrestlers dangle with the federation right there. It's a huge showdown, and just hear into some of the allegations that have been made by the players, the biggest players in the country, against their coaches, against the federation as well. And India Today is the only channel that is questioning Anurag Thakur, who is the sports minister of the country as well. We'll continue getting you all those reactions that are trickling in, but this is our top story. I promise you, it's an unprecedented display of discontent coming straight from the horse's mouth. It is the players who have voiced their discontent with the federation, with their coaches as well, and right there you can see them protesting as well. You've got top Indian wrestlers like Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia hitting the streets right there in protest. They're all troubled by the way the federation is acting, by the way the coaches are behaving as well. Bajrang Punia, remember, won the gold medal in 2022 Commonwealth Games. He's even tweeted about his displeasure. He said the job of the federation is to support the players, and Punia said that the needs of the sportsperson must be taken care of. This is a big dangle which is unfolding right here in the national capital. Big questions arising on how the sports ministry will now address all of these concerns put forward and voiced by all these top wrestlers of the country. In fact, India Today has also questioned the sports minister. We still have to hear him breaking his silence in terms of the corrective course of action going forward. He knows the problem now. He's heard about the problem now. He is witness to this protest.
All right, सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट का भी सर उन्होंने एलिगेशन लगवाया कोच के ऊपर। सर क्या आप उनकी बात सुनेंगे? अनुराग सर वन रिएक्शन सर, एथलीट से बात करेंगे आप सर प्लीज। सर सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट का केस है सर, सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट। So, as you can see, the Honorable Sports Minister, he refused to answer our questions on the allegations that were being made by the wrestlers against the Wrestler Federation of India. Grave allegations being made about sexual harassment by coaches, but not a statement that's coming in from the Sports Minister. With video journalist Shailendra, this is Shreya Chatterjee for India Today.
Anurag Thakur has not responded to even a single question put forth by India Today. You saw him right there on your screens. Why is he silent on all these allegations that have been made? Let's listen into what's going on as far as the wrestlers' plight is concerned.
और रही बात कैंप की ना, लखनऊ कैंप सबने बोल दिया कि बहुत दूर है, सबके पास इतना पैसा नहीं होता जी। अर्जेंट आना पड़ेगा, तो या तो ट्रेन में स्लीपर क्लास में या बाथरूम के साथ बैठ के आओ। जिसके पास पैसा नहीं है, अर्जेंट फ्लाइट टिकट कोई अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकता है। लखनऊ कैंप क्यों है?
सोनीपत लाया जाता है,
कोई पास में लगाया जाए ना, दिल्ली लगाओ।
ये नहीं बोल रहे सोनीपत लगाओ।
नहीं, सोनीपत में क्यों नहीं लगाते?
हमारी राजधानी के इर्द गिर्द लगाओ।
सोनीपत में
करना हो तो कर सकते हैं।
जो मेंस जो टीम है उसके साथ में क्यों नहीं लगाते हैं कि ये आस की लड़ाएंगे? क्या स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन आस की लड़ाने के लिए कैंप में जा रहे हैं?
अब तक उन्होंने रिजल्ट दिलाया।
वो क्या करते हैं? वो खुद का अपना बता रहे हैं कि मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ और हम आज की लड़ाएंगे। हम अगर मेंस को कैंप के साथ में है, बजरंग मेरे से इतना सीनियर है, उसको इतना एक्सपीरियंस है, लड़कों का रेसलिंग अलग है, हम कुछ ना कुछ उनसे सीखेंगे ही।
और क्योंकि कोचेज
कितना फायदा हमें होगा,
लेकिन जैसा कि बताया गया है कि नहीं है, क्वालिफाइड कोचेज नहीं है, ये इतना जानता है, कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा। जरूरी नहीं है कि भालगड़ी लगाओ, कहने का मतलब है राजधानी के नजदीक लगाओ कि आने जाने में डिफिकल्टी ना हो, क्योंकि सब लड़कियां अफोर्ड नहीं
इतनी मीडिया के सामने झूठ थोड़ी ना बोलेंगे हम।
आज आप लोग You heard the top wrestlers of the country right there. They're sitting on a dharna. They are protesting. They voiced each and every concern of theirs. They voiced their discontentment with the federation. The sports minister of the country was present there, Anurag Thakur. And India Today asked some direct questions to Anurag Thakur, to which he did not respond. His silence right there on your screens right there. We'll wait for Anurag Thakur to respond. The sports minister ought to respond and take some corrective course of action, or at least investigate all these allegations. We're slipping into a break. Lots more coming up on the other side.
One reaction, sir.
You are watching India Today.
It's 2023, and India remains the sole shining star in the global economy. So what lies ahead as the Modi government prepares its last full budget before the 2024 general elections? Join the biggest names in business journalism, decoding the jargon with the biggest newsmakers. From the most credible, in-depth analysis of Budget 2023, tune in for Modinomics 2023 through the month. Only on India Today and Business Today Television, gold standard of business journalism.
Your latest survey, which is around 4,400 global CEOs, has a very interesting take. From record optimism to record pessimism is the mood of global CEOs as captured by this survey, which has been literally released just a few hours back. Bob, tell us about the key takeaways.
The key takeaway is 73% of the CEOs are pessimistic about the global economy and its ability to grow next year. Let's put that into context. As you said, that is a record level of pessimism. And the last time we had this was back in 2008 and 2009 during the financial crisis. Now, I will say it's coming off first a relative comparison compared to last year. So it's not a surprise that that pessimism exists today when you look at the macroeconomic factors, inflation, rising interest rates, and the volatility and uncertainty that rests in the marketplace consistently around the globe right now. Because that pessimism is fairly consistent around the world on the economy as well as across multiple sectors. The interesting thing is geopolitics is now equally playing a part of that concern. And it's well beyond the China-US stuff that we've talked about previously. It's going to what's happening in the Middle East. It's going to what's happening in the EU. And can we actually move forward and hold strong relevant to how they're actually dealing with the war, energy pricing, and the like. So there's a lot of pessimism in the system. The question on the table is, have CEOs gone too far last year on the optimism and maybe too far on the pessimism this year? And the question is how to manage our way through it. And that's the big aha.
We'll take that big aha. But you spoke about 2008. Would it be fair if some people were to assume after reading this survey that you are saying that it's a return of 2008?
No, the difference this time around is back in 2008, first it was caused by a shock to the system that no one saw coming. In this case, all of these factors that have driven the concern, we've seen. It's been building. It's been a boiling pot, so to speak, in terms of the issues. It's the magnitude of the issues. It's the combination and the amplification of these issues and the economic implications. The second difference from 2008 and 2009, the amount of confidence CEOs had in their ability to grow revenues in 2008 and 2009 fell down dramatically, consistent with their view on the economy. This time, it's fallen. So they don't think they'll be able to grow as much their own revenues, but much less than ever before. Let's remember the CEOs went through COVID. There is a lot of muscle memory in terms of, okay, how do I change and direct the ship during really uncertain times? We continue to have them. In the past, it was solely COVID. Now it's a combination of other things.
Food shortage, stampedes, gunfires. Pakistan, a country of 23 crore people, is now paying for its crimes. For far too long, Islamabad overlooked governance and instead focused all its energies on the use of terror as a strategic weapon. Today, firing their AK-47 rifles, the army and police are protecting the priceless wheat flour against hungry crowds, risking their lives to lay their hands on that one bag of food. Pakistan is facing its worst ever food crisis, with parts of the country reporting shortage of wheat. Stampedes have been reported in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Sindh and Balochistan provinces. The country is drowning in debt, making even imports a tough task. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif met UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed on Sunday. The nuclear weapon state, struggling to stay afloat, sought a fresh economic package from the UAE.
और मुझे बड़ी शर्म आ रही है, लेकिन मजबूरी है, हमारे मामलात जो माली मामलात जो हैं इस वक्त बड़े IMF की शराइत में हम जकड़े हुए हैं. अभी भी 9th रिव्यू मुकम्मल नहीं हुआ. उनके शर्त है कि जनाब बिजली की कीमतें बढ़ाएं, फलां कीमतें बढ़ाएं. गरीब आदमी को हम कितना और बोझ डालें.
The country is facing challenges on multiple fronts like plummeting forex reserves, high inflation which has reached 42%, conflict with Taliban, Baloch insurgency, food shortage, power crisis and massive flood damage. Country that funded terror is now left embarrassed for begging for funds.
वहाँ पर मैंने तफसील से बात की कि मुझे बड़ी आई फील वेरी एम्बैरेस्ड कि मैं आपसे हर दफ़ा आता हूँ, कोई और आता है तो आप कहते तो नहीं, लेकिन दिल के अंदर तो आप समझते होंगे ये पैसे मांगने आ गए हैं.
With UAE pledging additional $1 billion to help cash-strapped ally Pakistan, question arises, will Islamabad use the money to meet the basic needs of citizens, or will it once again be used to fund terror? Bureau Report, India Today.
Where the Ukrainians seem to be pushing back against the Russian army, but we're also seeing the Russian army now being armed with Iranian drones, which seem to be having a devastating effect, and the level of war crime seems to be increasing. What's your sense of how the Russia-Ukraine war plays out through this year?
I mean, the smart money, I think, is on things continuing as they are in a rough stalemate. What is very clear to me is that the Ukrainians are not going to give up. They've gone all in on losing whatever they have to lose to win the war. They have so far rejected any notion of peace talks, in part because they feel like they're in a position of strength, they have momentum. So that's their side of things. On their end, they need Western supplies of weapons, more advanced weapons. Recently, they've just gotten a delivery of tanks from the UK. They've asked for more higher level artillery, stuffed rockets that reach further into Russian territory. That's the kind of stuff they want moving forward. On Russia's end, who knows? I mean, we're essentially talking about the mindset of one person and what he wants out of this. At some point, you've got to wonder that he thinks that he's gotten something that he can declare as a victory, that he can make seem as a victory. We don't know what that is exactly. We've begun to hear rumblings that the Russians might want to talk at some point, but this only works if both sides want to talk. So we need the Russians to need it as much as the Ukrainians do. We're not there yet.
We're also seeing NATO countries offer arms to Ukraine, which was so far off the table. Increasingly, tanks being given, which earlier was seen as NATO being dragged more deep into the conflict, which NATO was trying to avoid. How high, according to you, is the probability of the conflict escalating this year?
It's fairly high. It's as high as it was even last year. I mean, there's still the imminent risk of Russians using a tactical nuclear device, of them feeling like they're back.
The battle for 2024 kicks off. Opposition unity is a pipe dream. Arvind Kejriwal, KCR and Akhilesh unite. Congress, TMC and Sena not part of the bonhomie. No opposition Jodo ahead of 2024. That's our top focus on 5 Live.
Such a huge political deja vu based on what's happening right now. The big countdown to 2024 has begun, 400 days and counting. In fact, we're launching a special show at 7 p.m. today with Preeti Chaudhary, which you'll see in just a short while from now, which captures that big final stretch before the big state of war of 2024. But the big deja vu now is on that third front, the anti-Modi alliance. And is it going to be Modi versus the rest in the election coming up? I'm Shiv, this is 5 Live. As always, the headlines first. India's Olympian wrestlers protest against Wrestling Federation of India. Alleged sexual harassment by the top boss. Sports Minister silent on explosive claims by sportspersons. State of War Northeast kicks off. Tripura to go to the polls on February the 16th. Nagaland and Meghalaya to vote on February 27th. Counting days for all 3 states, March the 2nd. Tamil Nadu governor attempts to end Tamilagam Rao, clarifies that he never wanted to rename the state, said it was more an appropriate expression. Fresh twist in Telangana, Thappad Rao. Victim reveals that he was beaten by Bandi Sanjay's son as he misbehaved with the friend's sister. Ugly low in Karnataka politics after calling defectors prostitutes. Congress MLC attempts damage control and says he respects sex workers. BJP Mantri hits back with a pimp jibe. We've got breaking news coming in at the top of 5 Live. India today has accessed the first statement in court by actor Jacqueline Fernandez on the Sukesh Chandrasekhar in the entire Bollywood con scandal. Viewer, nobody else has a copy of Jacqueline's statement, and I'm going to break it down for you right here, first in exclusive as always on India Today. Jacqueline Fernandez has just told court, Sukesh Chandrasekhar misled me, has ruined my career and my livelihood. He used impersonation tactics and fictitious identities and intimidating conduct to mislead me. Huge, explosive claims by Jacqueline Fernandez, who's been embroiled over the last year in the infamous Bollywood con scandal that is said to be worth about 200 crore rupees, with Sukesh Chandrasekhar being the kingpin, accused of hundreds of crores of extortion from India's rich. Remember, Nora Fatehi has been drawn in as a witness, but Jacqueline Fernandez has been listed as an accused. I want to go across straight to Munish Pandey for more on this big breaking story. Munish, decode for us, what Jacqueline has said. She's basically saying that she was conned into this whole thing, that she is a victim and definitely not part of the scam.
Well, Shiv, my colleague Srishti Ojha has got this report, and she's the first one to get the entire statement of not only Jacqueline Fernandez but Nora Fatehi. It's a sensational statement. Now, as far as Jacqueline Fernandez's statement is concerned, remember what is important in this statement is, for the first time, Jacqueline Fernandez has accepted that she was emotionally attached to Sukesh Chandrasekhar. Not only she has claimed that Sukesh Chandrasekhar is someone who has played with the emotions of her, but also misled her, ruined her career. This statement becomes very important, Shiv, because remember, this statement was recorded before a magistrate, which means that this will become an evidence, and now Delhi police will investigate this case in this particular line. Now, Jacqueline Fernandez earlier, before the enforcement directorate, had already said that Sukesh Chandrasekhar was a person who introduced himself as someone who is politically connected to a South politician family. He impersonated as someone else, but later when they got engaged in conversations, Sukesh was the one who was emotionally attached to Jacqueline Fernandez. Apart from that, Jacqueline has also said that Sukesh is the one who promised big houses, big cars, and he was someone who wanted Jacqueline Fernandez to spend the entire life with him. Now, this part that she played with my emotions, it is also an acceptance on the part of Jacqueline Fernandez that somehow, somewhere, she was involved with this con man, and this is why this statement becomes really important, Shiv, as far as this entire 215 crore extortion case is concerned, and as far as the biggest con man of this country is concerned, that is Sukesh Chandrasekhar.
Massive exclusive. India Today's Srishti Ojha and Munish Pandey decoding first access to this statement from Jacqueline Fernandez, in court right now. It's the first words we've heard from court by Jacqueline Fernandez, accessed exclusively by India Today's Srishti Ojha, who joins me live from the capital as well. Srishti, basically two things that Jacqueline... Okay, we'll get back to Srishti in just a moment. Munish, coming back to you, what is the status of Jacqueline Fernandez's case right now? She was listed as an accused. You had Nora Fatehi take a sort of sideways swipe at her as well. How much trouble is Jacqueline Fernandez in now? Because now she says, I have been scammed in this whole thing. My career is ruined.
Well, Shiv, this is what Jacqueline Fernandez has been claiming since last year, since the time the Enforcement Directorate called her to record a statement for the first time. Now, as far as Enforcement Directorate's case is concerned, Jacqueline Fernandez stands as a accused in the case. That is the trouble part for Jacqueline Fernandez. But as far as Delhi police case is concerned, she is now a witness in the case because she has given her statement under Section 164 of CRPC, which means that now she will be witness in Delhi police case. That is a big relief for Jacqueline Fernandez. But as far as this entire charge sheet, remember this statement is also a part of charge sheet, Shiv, of Delhi police, which means that these are the charges which will be leveled against Sukesh Chandrasekhar and other accused in the case. But not only Jacqueline Fernandez, Noora Fateh's statement is also very important. Now, Noora Fateh in her statement has gone on to say that Sukesh Chandrasekhar was a person who wanted undue favors from her. And what undue favors, everyone knows what Sukesh Chandrasekhar wanted from Noora Fateh. Also, she has said that Sukesh Chandrasekhar is a person who wanted Noora Fateh to become his girlfriend, and in exchange of becoming a girlfriend, he was promising big houses, luxury cars and other things. So Noora Fateh's statement is very clear, and why I'm saying this, Shiv, it is very clear because I'll give you one inside story which has not come out in public so far. When Noora Fateh was called for the first time before the Enforcement Directorate in connection with this case, her first statement was, I have not met this person ever in my life. Then Sukesh Chandrasekhar was called in the very same room and both were made to sit face to face. When Noora Fateh was sitting on the chair across the table, Sukesh Chandrasekhar walked in the room, but there was no reaction from Noora Fateh. And the officer pointed out, this is the man who is Sukesh Chandrasekhar. And then Noora Fateh started laughing that this is a man who wanted me to become his girlfriend. So Noora Fateh so far has maintained that she is someone who has been telling the truth. And why I'm saying telling the truth? Because now this is from two agencies. To Delhi police, Noora Fateh said that she had never met Sukesh Chandrasekhar till the time she was asked to present herself before the Enforcement Directorate, and this is what an ED officer told me in a private conversation. So Noora Fateh's statement becomes very important at this juncture of the case. And as far as Jacqueline Fernandez is concerned, the biggest takeaway is that Jacqueline Fernandez was emotionally attached to this con man, and when she's saying that her career was ruined, it is only because after the ED case, after the Delhi police case, there were at least two big projects which were in the lap of Jacqueline Fernandez, but those projects were taken away by the producers. So it is a fact that Jacqueline Fernandez's career has taken a setback after this case.
Okay, so it has impacted her career. It has impacted her income, but by no stretch of imagination has Jacqueline Fernandez's career been ruined because she still has projects that are coming out. But Srishti Ojha joins me. She's the journalist who scooped what Jacqueline Fernandez has said. But quickly want to recap this huge news break by Srishti Ojha from our legal team. And this is Jackie Fernandez's statement. We've accessed after Jackie. Now we've also accessed Noora. This is part 2 of our big breaking this evening, viewer. After Jackie's statement, which you've just heard, we've also accessed Noora Fateh's statement in court. Sensational details coming out, and you're hearing them first here on India Today. This document that Srishti Ojha has just accessed. Noora Fateh has said in court, Sukesh sought undue favors from her through Pinky Irani. Noora says Sukesh promised big house and luxurious house if Noora promised to be his girlfriend. Now, Pinky told Nora's cousin that Jacqueline is waiting in line for this, but Sukesh wants Noora. Many actresses dying to be taken care of by Sukesh Chandrasekhar. So a very ugly sort of, masquerade involving Bollywood stars that Sukesh Chandrasekhar was clearly orchestrating. Srishti Ojha is with me. Srishti, break it down for us. You're the reporter who scooped these documents, these statements that have been made in court. Take us through them in detail and explain them to our viewers, Srishti.
Yes, Shiv, definitely. It's an India Today exclusive. We now have we've accessed statements that have been given by Jacqueline and Noora in the Sukesh Chandrasekhar case. Now, what's in...
Go ahead, Srishti, we can hear you.
Not just that, he misled her, has ruined her career and her livelihood. As far as Pinky Irani is concerned, along with Sukesh, she said that Sukesh Chandrasekhar and Pinky Irani always had an intention to cheat her. She was fooled by them. And at the time when she got to know about criminal background of Sukesh Chandrasekhar, that is when she got to know that his real name was Sukesh. And even though Pinky Irani, who introduced her to Sukesh Chandrasekhar, even though she was aware of the activity and background of Sukesh, she never disclosed that to her. In fact, when Jacqueline Fernandez tried to disassociate herself from Pinky and Sukesh, Pinky Irani continued to persuade her that she was making a wrong decision. She should not believe the media reports because they were just writing these reports for him because of some political rivalry, as he belongs to a big political influential family. Jacqueline has also said that both of them have used impersonation tactics and fictitious identities and also intimidating conduct to mislead her. Now, coming to Pinky Irani, who's an accused in the case, Jacqueline has said that she was an active associate of Sukesh Chandrasekhar, and Sukesh traps people through her. Sukesh has played with her emotions and has made her life living hell. As far as Sukesh's criminal antecedents is concerned, Jacqueline has maintained that she was not aware of his criminal antecedents. She was not even aware that he was calling her through from Tihar jail because he used to speak to her on video call only from one particular location, was always dressed in branded clothes. So she was not aware that he's in fact in jail. What she's also said that after Pinky Irani, she was initially doubtful.
Yeah. Okay, shaky connection there with Srishti. I apologize for that. She's right outside court, so we'll get back to Srishti in just a moment. But I once again want to recap the statements that have just been made by both these actors. I'm going to start with the latest piece of breaking news. This is Nora Fatehi and her statement in court. Big details. Let me just detail those for you. Sukesh sought undue favors from Nora through a person called Pinky Irani. Sukesh promised a big house and a luxurious residence if she promised. That is, Nora promised to be his girlfriend. Pinky also told Nora's cousin that Jacqueline is waiting in line for this whole girlfriend business, but Sukesh wants Nora. Many actresses are dying to be taken care of by Sukesh, is what Nora has said in her statement in front of the court. Parallelly, we've accessed that statement from Jacqueline Fernandez, where she says that she has been a victim in this entire scandal and that her career and livelihood have been ruined through this association, and that Sukesh Chandrasekhar played with her emotions. Remember, Sukesh is accused to have given her lavish gifts to her and her family. Sukesh made my life hell, is what Jacqueline Fernandez has also said. Impersonation and fake identities were used by Sukesh, and that is what misled me, says Jacqueline Fernandez. I was intimidated and I was misled. So Jacqueline Fernandez making a very, very strenuous effort to suggest that she is far from being an accused and part of a charge sheet in this entire case. She is actually one of Sukesh Chandrasekhar's victims. Srishti, you're back with us. Before I go to Srishti, we'll try and stabilize that connection. Munish, what kind of a position is Jacqueline Fernandez in right now to... Okay, we're going to come back to our reporters in just a bit. We're getting another big breaking coming in. Huge breaking coming in. We'll go back to our reporters in just a moment. Shubman Gill has hit a double ton against New Zealand in Hyderabad. This makes Shubman the fourth Indian cricketer to achieve this historic feat. Shubman Gill against New Zealand has just hit a double ton, becoming just the fourth Indian to achieve this incredible feat. We're going to have our reporters live with us in just a moment on this big breaking story. This is in the match that has just taken place in Hyderabad. Shubman Gill has just hit a double ton against New Zealand. Fourth Indian to achieve this historic feat. The only three other Indians who've ever achieved this feat are Virat Kohli, Virendra Sehwag and Sachin Tendulkar. The only 3 Indians. Now Shubman Gill becomes the 4th Indian to script history by hitting a double ton in the match against New Zealand in Hyderabad at this point of time. Images just coming in of Shubman celebrating that double ton. He becomes the 4th Indian to achieve this. Let's go straight across to India Today's Nikhil Nas for more on this. Nikhil, Shubman Gill's double ton becoming the fourth Indian to do so.
Shiv, I mean, I know I'll pardon you for saying the 4th Indian. That's because, he's actually become the 5th. I'll tell you why. And I made the similar mistake. That's because we just had another double 100 about a month ago, and that was Ishan Kishan. So he's effectively become the 5th Indian. No, I don't blame you. In fact, all of us here discussing on the sports desk also first thought that would be the 4th, because we all remember Rohit Sharma, getting it. He's on top of the pile. Then you remember the first man to do so was Sachin Tendulkar. Virendra Sehwag did it in style. So you tend to remember these 3 superstars. But we had, Ishan Kishan do it a month ago. And now you've got another youngster in Shubman Gill do that. So if you take a look at the list now, 9 players have done it in all, as far as 200 in an ODI is concerned, and imagine you've got 5 of them happen to be Indians. In fact, it's happened on multiple occasions. Rohit Sharma has got it 3 times, as I mentioned. He's also on top of the pile. If you take a look at the highest score ever scored in a one-day game at 260. But I'll spend some time talking about this youngster because a lot of people would be interested. Just a short while ago, he was, there was a controversy surrounding him. He was included in the T20 team versus Sri Lanka just a couple of weeks ago, and many said that, listen, Ishan Kishan has just got you a double 100, and how is it that you don't go with Ishan in the 11 and you bring someone like a Shubman Gill? But clearly the team management, that is Rohit Sharma, the captain, that is Rahul Dravid, the coach, saw a lot of potential in Shubman Gill. I'll tell you what, ever since he played that Under-19 World Cup, he was a standout player in 2018 when he played that Under-19 World Cup. There were talks, no less than Rahul Dravid had actually picked him as a superstar. Technically correct. If you spoke to anyone around the country about 3 years ago and asked him, pick one player that you think is the future of Indian cricket, I'm guessing 9 out of 10 cricket experts would have picked Shubman Gill, and he's now living up to that billing that everyone was associating Shubman Gill with. Outstanding knock today. He started off on a slow note. In fact, I'll tell you, once he got to 100, we had a few people chatting on the sports desk, and many felt that, listen, could he be another guy who reaches at 200? And the common consensus was no. He's a very proper player. He plays conventional cricket. He's not going to be playing like Virendra Sehwag or a Rohit Sharma that suddenly from that 100 he's going to reach 200. Guess what? He's defied all of that. He did play aggressive. In fact, reaching that double 100 with 3 back-to-back sixes of someone no less than Lockie Ferguson, one of the fastest bowlers that you have in the world. So, it's that strong lineage of Indian batsmen, the likes of Sachin, as I mentioned, Rohit Sharma, Virendra Sehwag, the likes that were known to reach big landmarks, hitting sixes. Shubman Gill is following on those footsteps and one to look out for in the future. Outstanding inning.
And I was just reading, Nikhil, that he's also the fastest Indian to complete 1,000 one-day runs, alongside this double ton. So incredible form for Shubman.
But that's right. In fact, Shiv, the last game that he played for India, he also got 100. That was the one ODI that he played versus Sri Lanka, but that got a bit overshadowed. Guess why? Because there was a certain Virat Kohli who also got 100 in that game. So we celebrated that 100 of Virat Kohli. He got to his 74th, and that was a reason enough to celebrate India's victory. But remember, at the time, Shubman also got 100. So we are talking about 300s for Virat Kohli recently. Shubman himself has been in a rich vein of form, getting a lot of hundreds for the team. And remember, he's now one of those rare players who's part of all formats. I mean, I can count on my fingertips players that are playing all formats at the moment, and Shubman is just one of them. That's because someone like a Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, they haven't been playing the T20 matches that we saw some time ago. So there's effectively Shreyas Iyer and Shubman Gill, 2 players that are part of all three formats for the Indian team, and now Ishan Kishan has also got a chance in the test team. So 3 youngsters that are also part of the T20 team, one-day team, test team. And what does that tell you? That tells you that he's a man for all season. As I mentioned, that conventional cricket is what he plays, technically very correct, very pleasing to the eye when he plays. And when he came along, many said that, listen, he'll be that test legend, or at best he'll play a good one-day cricket. He's part of your T20 team consistently. So, playing all three formats in the style that he plays, absolutely incredible talent that India has got now.
Explain that a little bit, Nikhil. A man for all seasons. An absolute pleasure to watch. Conventional player. Why are you calling him a man for all seasons? Explain that.
That's because, firstly, Shiv, as I said, that he is now part of all three formats of the Indian team. And why that is rare? Which are the first names that come to your mind when I talk about Indian cricket stars? There is Virat Kohli, there is Rohit Sharma, there is Cheteshwar Pujara. These are really, really big names in Indian cricket. Hardik Pandya, Surya Kumar Yadav. I think if I was to ask you to list top 5 cricketers, maybe these are the 5 names that you would pick. But guess what? Out of these 5 names, none of them are going to be part of all formats. Surya Kumar Yadav has now been drafted into the test team, but still not part of all 3 formats. So there are only about 3 or 4, a handful of players that does not include a Virat Kohli, that does not include a Rohit Sharma or a Hardik Pandya, that are playing for India in all 3 formats. That is Test cricket, that is ODI cricket, and that is T20 cricket. Shubman Gill is one of those players that the team management thinks is fit enough to play all 3 formats. And as I mentioned, briefly I was talking about it earlier, Shiv. What's really interesting about Shubman Gill is that even for Test cricket, he has someone like a KL Rahul, another established performer, to fight with for a spot in the playing 11. You look at one-day cricket, he had to fight with someone like an Ishan Kishan who just got a double 100. He had to fight against him to get a spot in the playing 11. In Shikhar Dhawan, another name who is consistently playing as an opener in ODI cricket, the Indian team management looked beyond Shikhar Dhawan, who's also been in very good form, and went with someone like Shubman Gill. There was a lot of criticism at that time, and people said that, listen, you've got a proven performer in Shikhar Dhawan who's done really well in top international tournaments. He's still very fit. He can still serve the Indian team a lot. This year is the World Cup year, so why not persist with someone as experienced as Shikhar Dhawan? But probably the management thought that, no, we want to invest in this youngster. So a lot of eyebrows were raised when they went with someone like a Shubman Gill ahead of a Shikhar Dhawan and Ishan Kishan. And guess what he's done? 2 matches now, 2 back-to-back hundreds for Shubman Gill. One of them happens to be a double 100. That's why I say that he's a man for all season, and I think he is a man to look out for. Probably the next big superstar of Indian cricket.
That's incredible, and I want to ask you precisely about that, Nikhil. Man for all season, seasons consistent in all formats of the game. What is Shubman's future looking like? I know it's early hours left right now. There's this electricity right now because of this double 100. But what's that future looking like? The next big superstar, you're saying?
Well, that's right. In fact, I'm going to stick my neck out and say not just the next big superstar. You'd be looking at him as the next probably Indian captain. And I know it's too early to say that, but because he's playing all 3 formats, because if you look at the way he's carried on in his cricket, you know that he's going to play cricket for very long. And now that you are on the cusp of maybe having a transition in Indian cricket, you know that the likes of Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli are not going to be around for very long. You tried someone like a KL Rahul to captain. That didn't go according to plan. Rishabh Pant was the other one that you were looking as for captain. He met with an unfortunate accident. So we were just discussing this morning that who could be that guy that you really invest in when it comes to India's captaincy in the future. And I think you don't need to look beyond someone like a Shubman Gill, because he's a top order batsman. He's playing all formats, and so he could be someone not just as a regular member of the team, but somebody who could even lead the Indian team in the future. So that's one thing that you really need to look at. Again, as I said, because he plays a lot of conventional cricket, his batting is not quite erratic. He's not always experimenting. That also tells you that maybe it's a bit easy on his body. And the one issue that we've had with a lot of Indian players right now has been injury. So with someone like Shubman, he may be able to continue with his international cricket for a long time. And let's not forget, we keep forgetting, he's already tasted a lot of success. He was part of the Gujarat Titans that are the current IPL champions, which is a T20 format. Remember, I told you he's pretty good in Test cricket. He's very good in ODI, as his double 100 proves. That's a T20 format where a lot of critics thought that maybe he's not suited to be part of that T20 setup. He's part of the current IPL champions and was consistently opening for them. So he's got all it takes. I know that it's too early to make those comparisons, but who are the players? Very few players that have been able to perform at this consistent level in all format. Sachin Tendulkar comes to your mind. Probably that's why he was great, because he could mold his game when it came to test cricket, play those gritty test knocks. He could mold his game and play aggressive cricket when he played ODI cricket. You said the same about Virat Kohli. He could play those long test innings and then could play those cameos in white ball cricket. And if I was to think of another name who is actually doing it in this short span, it is probably Shubman Gill.
It's incredible. The future superstar at this point of time, Shubman Gill, stylish right-hander, incredible innings. He's had a fabulous season. The Sri Lanka series just now, and now the series against New Zealand, making him easily one of the most impressive cricketers at this point of time. Shubman Gill is all of 23 years old. He's got a long career ahead of him, and he is, as Nikhil just said, easily touted to be the next big superstar of Indian cricket. He's the fifth Indian. We made an error. We said fourth. It's the fifth Indian, as Nikhil has corrected us, to hit a double ton in a one-day international. He's done this in a match against New Zealand in Hyderabad. And those are images of Shubman Gill after hitting that double ton. It is possible that this puts him in a position to become, to take the opener's spot in the Indian team, in the Rohit Sharma-led team. But we'll have to see where things land right now. History has been created. Just imagine that in the history of Indian cricket, the fifth Indian to actually do this. We'll come back to this in just a bit to get you much more. On the back of very serious allegations leveled by Olympian wrestlers in the country who are sitting on the road in protest. Lots of commotion at the press conference venue where the Wrestling Federation of India has decided to respond and put forward its version of events. They stand accused of abuse, sexual exploitation and death threats to wrestlers. And now the Wrestling Federation of India is going to respond. Wrestlers like Vinesh Fogart, Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia are sitting out on the streets, all of them Olympians, on the streets of Delhi protesting against abuse and bad treatment by the Wrestling Federation of India. And now you see this commotion with journalists at the Wrestling Federation of India office as they get set to address a press conference reflecting their side of what happened.
एक सेकंड कुछ पीछे बैठ जाओ कुछ खड़े हो जाओ चलो अरे कर ले यार आपका माइक आ गया ढूंढने देगा हमारा थोड़ने से अरे किसी का माइक लाओ चलिए अब आराम चलिए सर एक आदमी कोई पहला पूछ चलिए मैं पूछ रहा हूं सर भूषण जी सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट लगाए हैं सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट के रोकने के शोषण करते थे और आपने टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स के बाद विनोद फोगाट को एक पूछिए एक सवाल है एक मिनट पहले हमारी बात एक सेकंड आप बोल जो सबसे बड़ा सवाल हो पहले उसको पूछ लीजिए आप सुनो और एक सवाल में कई सवाल मत पूछिए हर सवाल का जवाब देंगे
सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट का विनेश फोगाट के लिए कि ब्रिजभूषण और WFI के जो हेड है उन पर सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट का उन्होंने आरोप लगाया है तो आप सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट पे पहले जवाब दीजिए सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट का यार थोड़ा पीछे हो जाओ देखिए जैसे मुझे पता चला कि लखनऊ में दिल्ली में पहलवानों ने फेडरेशन के को लेकर के अपनी समस्याओं को लेकर के धरना दिया है आरोप क्या है ये मुझे नहीं पता था लेकिन तब से तुरंत मैंने जो है फ्लाइट का टिकट लिया और फ्लाइट का टिकट लेकर के मैं तुरंत आ गया क्योंकि हमारा रहना जरूरी है इसलिए मैं आया सबसे बड़ा जो आरोप विनेश ने लगाया है क्या सामने कोई है मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि सामने कोई है कि जो कह दे कि फेडरेशन ने
कभी किसी खिलाड़ी का शोषण किया हो? क्या सामने नहीं होना चाहिए? कोई सामने तो होना चाहिए, कोई तो होना चाहिए सामने। कि सांसद जी ने, ब्रजभूषण सिंह जी ने, फेडरेशन के जो अध्यक्ष हैं, उन्होंने फला खिलाड़ी का शोषण किया है, सामने होना चाहिए, नहीं होना चाहिए।
ब्रजभूषण जी, लेकिन उनका ये साफ साफ कहना है कि आप फेडरेशन के अधिकारी के साथ
2 घंटा लगेगा तो 2 घंटा बैठूंगा।
नहीं बिल्कुल, एक करके आराम से पूछ रहे हैं, कोई वो नहीं है। ब्रजभूषण जी, लेकिन उनका ये भी कहना है कि जिस तरीके से यौन शोषण के आरोप न सिर्फ आप पर और फेडरेशन के अधिकारियों पे हैं, उनका ये कहना है कि फेडरेशन जो है वो कायदे और कानून से नहीं चल रही है, उसमें कई खामियां हैं स्पोर्ट्स कोड को लेकर, इसीलिए आपको इस्तीफा भी दे देना चाहिए, आपको पद से हटाया जाना चाहिए।
एक सवाल रखिए कोई, जैसे हमने अभी चलते चलते पढ़ा कि चीफ कोच का भी नाम लिया गया है कि वो भी पसंदीदा खिलाड़ियों का शोषण करते हैं। हमारे लिए कहा गया कि लखनऊ में कैंप इसलिए लगाया जाता है कि खिलाड़ियों को घर बुलाया जा सके। मैं जेड श्रेणी सुरक्षा प्राप्त आदमी हूं और मैं अपने घर पर स्वयं नहीं रुकता हूं। मेरा घर वहां से 120-30 किलोमीटर है, मेरा घर है लखनऊ में, लेकिन मैं यदा कदा साल में 1 बार या 2 बार रुकता हूं। और सबसे बड़ी बात यहां है, अन्यथा मत लीजिएगा, एक शेर बोलना चाहता हूं कि इसीलिए तो डगर डगर बदनाम हो गए मेरे आंसू, इसीलिए तो नगर नगर बदनाम हो गए मेरे आंसू, मैं उनका हो गया कि जिनका कोई पहरेदार नहीं था। मैं कमजोर जो राज्य हैं, जो कमजोर राज्य के खिलाड़ी हैं, मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूं कि ना आप नेशनल लड़ोगे, ना आप ओपन नेशनल लड़ोगे, ना आप ट्रायल दोगे। ट्रायल भी आप चाहते हैं कि सारे खिलाड़ियों का ट्रायल हो जाए, फिर जो खिलाड़ी उसमें जीतता हो उससे आपका अकेले ट्रायल हो जाए। तो जो गार्जियन अपने बच्चों को लेकर के रात दिन मेहनत करते हैं और रात दिन उनके पीछे लगे रहते हैं, तो वो भी तो ओलंपिक के ही उम्मीद से खेल रहे हैं, वो भी तो वर्ल्ड ही खेलना चाहते हैं, वो भी तो एशिया खेलना चाहते हैं। और अगर इतनी दिक्कत थी फेडरेशन से, तो 10 साल से ये दिक्कत क्यों नहीं हुई? दिक्कत तब होती है जब फेडरेशन एक नियम बनाती है। फेडरेशन एक नियम बनाती है, दुनिया के कई देशों का हम लोगों ने अध्ययन किया, और अध्ययन करने के बाद एक नियम बना। पहले हमारे यदा कदा खिलाड़ी ओलंपिक के लिए क्वालिफाई करते थे, और ये कोटा व्यक्ति का नहीं होता है, देश का कोटा होता है। और पहले हमारे यहाँ की पॉलिसी थी कि जो खिलाड़ी सेलेक्ट होकर के आएगा वही खिलाड़ी ओलंपिक में जाएगा। इसी बात को लेकर के नरसिंह यादव और सुशील का एक प्रकरण आया था, लेकिन कोई ऐसा नियम नहीं था कि जिसको हम लोग ट्रायल करवा सकें, और इसलिए सुशील और नरसिंह का ट्रायल नहीं हो पाया क्योंकि ऐसा नियम नहीं था। इस बार ओलंपिक के बाद हम लोगों ने महसूस किया, दुनिया के कई देशों का हम लोगों ने अध्ययन किया, और अध्ययन करने के बाद ये निकाला कि ओलंपिक में अगर कोई खिलाड़ी कोटा लेकर के आता है तो पहले जो देश के खिलाड़ी हैं उनके बीच में एक ट्रायल होगा, फिर जो देश को जीतेगा उससे ओलंपिक के जो क्वालिफाई करके आए हैं उनके बीच में एक कुश्ती होगी। अगर ओलंपियन जिसने क्वालिफाई किया है अगर हरा देगा तो उसका कोटा पक्का माना जाएगा। अगर बाई चांस वो खिलाड़ी हार जाए, तो उसको 15-20 दिन के बाद एक मौका और मिलेगा। यानी कि नया खिलाड़ी अगर आएगा तो उसको 2 बार जिसने कोटा लिया है उसको हराना पड़ेगा, और जो खिलाड़ी सेलेक्ट होकर के आया है एक कुश्ती केवल जीत लेगा। तो एक निर्णय तो ये हुआ, फेडरेशन का तानाशाही वाला निर्णय एक ये हुआ कि अब फेडरेशन जो है,
ये फेडरेशन तानाशाही की तरह काम कर रही है या आप
नहीं, ये जो जैसे जो आरोप है कि तानाशाही के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, इसको लेकर के सारे कोचों से बीच में मीटिंग हुई, और यहां तक कि इन खिलाड़ियों को भी बताया गया था कि फेडरेशन ऐसा विचार कर रही है। और हमारा वो फैसला नहीं है, हमारे जो है एजुकेटिव बाजी का फैसला है, जिसमें जो है इनका क्या नाम है कोचों की सहमति है।
कैसे हुआ, क्यों हुआ, किसके साथ हुआ, वो हम खुल के अपने
बात करने के लिए वक्त मांगा है आप लोगों ने? सर, बात करने के लिए कोई वक्त मांगा है? गृह मंत्री से
कोई वक्त नहीं, प्लीज।
ये कार्य समिति में जैसे देखिए कोई भी नेशनल कराता, एक नेशनल कराने में कम से कम 60 लाख 70 लाख रुपए लगते हैं और गवर्नमेंट का जो हमारा सपोर्ट है वो बहुत कम है, अलग से लोगों को व्यवस्था करनी पड़ती है। हर आदमी चाहता है कि हमारे गेम में ओलंपियन हैं या जो वर्ल्ड के मेडलिस्ट हैं वो आवें, जिससे आकर्षण बढ़े। अब ये जो खिलाड़ी हैं जो आज बैठे थे, ये आने के बाद ना तो ये एक नेशनल लड़े हैं और ना ये एक ओपन नेशनल, तब से आज तक ये एक कंपटीशन भी देश के अंदर नहीं लड़े हैं। देश के अंदर इन्होंने एक भी कंपटीशन नहीं लड़ा है और तब हम लोगों ने सहमति से ये फैसला किया, जिसमें गवर्नमेंट को भी विश्वास में लिया कि आपको कैंप में आना है तो आपको नेशनल लड़ना पड़ेगा। और फिर बात हुई कि कुछ खिलाड़ी हैं जैसे कि वो नहीं, चलो इस साल नहीं लड़ पाए, कुछ ने ये कहा कि हम जान नहीं पाए, हमको पता नहीं था कि फेडरेशन ने ये नियम बना दिए। जान वो कह रहे हैं कि आप आगे जवाब देने के लिए मैं यहाँ पर आया हूँ। जो आरोप लगाए गए उसके बारे में कोई जानकारी नहीं।
मेरे को मैं एक्सेप्ट करता हूँ ये सारी चीजें, ऐसे तो कोई नहीं करने वाला है। बस यही है कि जांच होनी चाहिए और आगे हम पीएम सर और गृह मंत्री सर के पास जाएंगे और फिर अपना खुल के डिटेल्स बताएंगे और हाँ सारी चीजें। तो अभी के लिए बस इतना ही। और
अरे ठीक है भाई साहब, अरे हो चुका ना,
पूरी हो जाने दीजिए, एक बार पूरी हो जाने दो।
अरे हो चुका, प्लीज अब समझो यार। नहीं ऐसे माइक लगाए रखोगे तो समय भी चाहिए ना थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रा। अरे भाई साहब समझो आप। अरे चलो एक बार भाई पीछे हो जाओ,
जाएगा तो आप, मैं देश सुन रहा है इस समय मुझे गौर से, तो मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि अब जैसे एक आरोप ये भी है कि पहले हरियाणा की 2 टीम लड़ती थी, अब हरियाणा की 1 टीम लड़ती है। तो देखिए हरियाणा की 2 टीम लड़ती थी ये सत्य है और 2 टीम हरियाणा की नहीं लड़ती थी, 2 टीम लड़ती थी। जो फर्स्ट स्थान प्राप्त करती थी उसकी भी 2 टीम लड़ती थी, जो सेकंड आती थी उसकी भी 2 टीम लड़ती थी, जो तीसरे स्थान पर रहते थे उनकी भी 2 टीम लड़ती थी। हम लोगों ने महसूस किया इससे, जैसे नागालैंड है, मिजोरम है, आसाम है, बंगाल है, जो कमजोर राज्य हैं उनके खिलाड़ियों को मेडल नहीं आ रहा है। बिहार है, झारखंड को तो आ जाता है, कमजोर राज्य।
मुख्य मांग यही है कि रेसलिंग फेडरेशन को हटाया जाए और नीचे तक के जो अधिकारी हैं सबको हटा के एक नई फेडरेशन का निर्माण होना चाहिए कि जो नीचे से गंदगी शुरू हुई है या जो नीचे से ही खराब है सब हट के एक फ्रेश स्टार्ट होनी चाहिए कि हमारे आने वाले जो रेसलर्स हैं उनका भविष्य खराब में ना जाए।
सरकार से बात के लिए कोई बात हो पाई है?
वो हम करेंगे बात, वो हम अपने पीएम सर से और गृह मंत्री सर से बात करेंगे, उनके आगे और हमारी खुल के बात रखेंगे। और
आरोप लगाए गए हैं
जो भी है, जो बातें बताई गई हैं, जो विनेश के थ्रू बताई गई है वो 100% सच है। और कैसे हुआ, क्यों हुआ, किसके साथ हुआ, वो हम खुल के अपने पीएम सर को
मांगा है आप लोगों ने? बात करने के लिए कोई वक्त मांगा है? गृह मंत्री से
कोई वक्त यहाँ से नहीं मांग
इतना ही खिलाड़ी जाकर के लड़ सकता है। और मैं आपको बता देना चाहता हूं कि फर्स्ट नेशनल जब मैंने कराया तो 61% मेडल केवल हरियाणा के गए हैं। 61% मेडल, 39% में पूरा देश है, 61% में। तो ये हरियाणा का भी नुकसान नहीं हुआ। अब उनके खिलाड़ी आ गए, उनको भी हम कैंप में लेते हैं, उनको भी हम ट्रायल का मौका देते हैं। दूसरा, इन लोगों का आरोप है कि मनमानी करते हैं। हम कोई मनमानी नहीं करते हैं, हमारा दरवाजा खुला रहता है, हम सबसे बात करते हैं, इनसे भी बात करते हैं। ये भी 1 हफ्ता पहले बात करके गए हैं, यही बात करके गए हैं। साक्षी मलिक बात करके गई है। विनेश फोगाट जो मेरे ऊपर आरोप लगा रही हैं, भाई साहब कॉमनवेल्थ की ट्रायल हो रही थी और ऐसी स्थिति थी, उस कैसेट को उठा करके देख लीजिए। मैंने उस लड़की से जाकर के बोला, बेटा देखो मैं देख रहा हूं कि तुम्हारा पॉइंट है, लेकिन अगर तुम बड़े खिलाड़ी हो, तुम थोड़े दिन सब्र कर लो, नहीं तो ये मेरे ऊपर आरोप लगा देगी कि मैंने जानबूझ करके हरवा दिया। 1 पॉइंट से जीत करके कॉमनवेल्थ गई हैं। तो क्या वो जो लड़के, नए लड़के जो चाहे वो किसी प्रांत के हों, चाहे हरियाणा के ही हों, जो गार्जियन इस दिन जिनसे किनको खिला रहे हैं, पिला रहे हैं, उनकी तैयारी करा रहे हैं, क्या उनको सबको रोक दिया जाए? केवल आपको मौका दिया जाए?
तो मतलब आपका कहना आरोप झूठे हैं, आपका कहना आरोप झूठे हैं, मौका नहीं दिया जा रहा है, मौका नहीं दिया जा रहा है, इसीलिए ये झूठे आरोप लगाए गए हैं। उन्होंने ये भी कहा है कि हमारी जान को खतरा है। उन्होंने
And just to remind all of our viewers who are watching this story here on India Today, those are Olympian wrestlers sitting there on the roads making those allegations. That's something to think about. Do you believe the wrestlers or do you believe the Wrestling Federation of India? We're taking a quick break. We'll have much more on the other side. Stay with India Today.
You're watching an India Today special broadcast being brought to you from the stunning ski resort of Clusters, Davos.
The 53rd World Economic Forum is back at the snow-clad slopes of Davos. The smartest minds gather to debate the world's biggest challenges: energy crisis, industry headwinds, geopolitical risks, social vulnerabilities. India Today and Business Today are at ground zero to bring you all the action. Catch top corporate tycoons, politicians and intellectuals as they discuss cooperation in a fragmented world. Watch the Davos brainstorm only on India Today and Business Today TV.
आउटफिट एक्स एक प्राइवेट टेरर ग्रुप जो किसी मकसद के लिए नहीं, बस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पर काम करते हैं।
मैम, वी हैव अ रेड फ्लैग।
दे आर प्लानिंग अ मैसिव अटैक और उनका टारगेट है इंडिया।
एक ऐसा अटैक जो हिंदुस्तान ने कभी सोचा भी नहीं होगा। ये नेगोशिएशन नहीं, अल्टीमेटम है। एंड योर टाइम स्टार्ट्स now.
Fasten your seatbelts as the countdown to SRK's most awaited film has begun.
तो अब पठान के बनवास का टाइम खत्म हुआ।
पार्टी पठान के घर पे रखोगे तो मेहमान नवाजी के लिए पठान तो आया। और पटाखे भी लाएगा।
That's right. Pathaan is all set to hit cinemas on January 25th, and while fans are eagerly waiting for their superstar to return to the silver screen after a gap of 5 years, the makers are leaving no stone unturned to make it even more special for Shah Rukh Khan.
Pathaan, the hunter, hunted.
Days after releasing the trailer, Team Pathaan flew down to Dubai and it was displayed on the iconic skyscraper Burj Khalifa in presence of Shah Rukh Khan, who also did his signature open arm pose for the fans gathered for the event. What's more, the actor was even seen dancing to the tunes of the Arabic version of film's title track Chume Jo Pathaan, and visuals from the night are taking the internet by storm.
हिंदुस्तान के 21 सबसे अमीर लोगों के पास उतना ही धन है जितना 70 करोड़ हिंदुस्तानियों के पास है, पहला आंकड़ा। और दूसरा आंकड़ा, हिंदुस्तान के सबसे अमीर 1% के पास हिंदुस्तान का 40% धन है।
Rahul Gandhi raises the pitch on inequality, citing a report by NGO Oxfam India that claims inequality is rising in the country. The Congress leader claimed his Bharat Jodo Yatra is also to ensure economic justice. In an interaction with the media on Tuesday, he cited the report multiple times to claim the Narendra Modi government has pushed thousands of people to poverty.
हमारी जब सरकार थी, हमने रिकॉर्ड लोगों को, इस देश में रिकॉर्ड लोगों को गरीबी से निकाला था। 20 करोड़ लोगों को हमने गरीबी से निकाला था, यूपीए की सरकार। उन लोगों को नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने वापस गरीबी में डाल दिया है।
The BJP rubbished Rahul Gandhi's charges, pointing towards various welfare schemes launched by the Modi government aimed at elevating poverty.
वो आंकड़ों को भूल जाते हैं। जब 22 करोड़ लोगों के खाते में डायरेक्ट पैसा जाता है, वो तो जब जीरो बैलेंस पे अकाउंट खुल रहे थे तब भी आपत्ति कर रहे थे, लेकिन वही आज लाभ का कारण बना कि पेंडेमिक के टाइम में अगर हमको किसी को सीधे पैसा देना था तो वो सीधे पैसा जाता है। तो भारत सरकार जो काम कर रही है वो वास्तविक रूप में गरीब कल्याण के लिए काम कर रही है। उनका स्टेटमेंट गलत है और वो इन विषयों को गलत उठाते हैं।
The Oxfam report cited by Rahul Gandhi claims top 1% in India owned more than 40.5% of total wealth in 2021, while the bottom 50% of the population or 70 crore people have around 3% of the total wealth. The report says that since the pandemic began in November 2022, the wealth of billionaires in India surged by 121% or 3,608 crore rupees per day. Meanwhile, the report claims the number of hungry Indians has increased from 19 crore to 35 crores. The Oxfam report, however, contradicts an IMF paper released last year. The study, authored by Surjit Bhalla, Karan Bhasin and Arvind Virmani, had said that extreme poverty was kept below 1% during the pandemic by the Modi government through its free ration scheme. Bureau Report, India Today.
And the political fight for 2024 has already begun. 400 days out, the big deja vu over opposition unity has raised its head once again. Watch this special report on how things stand 400 days before the big fight for 2024. Can all the opposition parties unite against Modi, or will they fail again?
400 days for polls, time to hit top gear. The words used by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to kickstart the massive BJP poll machinery and make it battle ready for 2024. While Modi had sounded the bugle by a mega roadshow in Delhi, the opposition, struggling to put up a united front, is rushing to put its house in order. But the elusive opposition unity is far from becoming a reality. The discord became evident when West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, known for her discomfort with the Congress, fired a massive salvo.
In my life from studenthood, I fought like anything with the leftist earlier when I was in Congress. But Congress did not give me the protection. The sisters and brothers, you cannot imagine how I have been tortured and how the atrocious, terrible, the political situation I faced. Glory of Meghalaya!
Mamata's attacks come at a time while the opposition is groping for unity. While Rahul Gandhi is on his Bharat Jodo Yatra, Telangana Chief Minister KCR tried yet again to form a joint front. Hosting Delhi Chief Minister Kejriwal, Punjab CM Bhagwant Mann, Kerala CM Pinarayi Vijayan and SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav for a joint rally at Khammam. While KCR is keen on a national level role, fancying his chance as a Modi challenger. His bid for an alternate front is hobbled by absence of Congress-led UPA by his side. Even TMC, DMK, Uddhav Sena were a no-show at KCR rally. To make matters worse, the left is a direct contender of Congress in states like Kerala.
All ethics and norms of democracy are being violated. Governments that have come to power in the states by winning a majority in the assembly elections are being toppled through horse trading. Such unethical efforts to form governments in the states weaken the very foundations of our democracy.
अभी कल ही भारतीय जनता पार्टी की मीटिंग खत्म हुई है और उन्होंने कहा कि 400 दिन बाकी हैं। हमें तो लगता था कि ये सरकार तो वो है जो दावा करती थी कि हटेगी नहीं। अब तो वो स्वयं स्वीकार कर रही है कि अब 400 दिन हैं।
तमिलनाडु का गवर्नर तमिलनाडु की सरकार को तंग कर रहा है। तेलंगाना का गवर्नर राव साहब को तंग कर रहा है। दिल्ली का गवर्नर मेरे को तंग कर रहा है। पंजाब का गवर्नर मान साहब को तंग कर रहा है। ये गवर्नर तंग नहीं कर रहे, मोदी साहब तंग कर रहे हैं।
With too many prime ministerial aspirants and no one to match Modi's magic, will Mission 2024 be an uphill task for the fragmented opposition? Bureau Report, India Today.
Give us your sense of what's happening inside China.
Great to be here with you, Rahul. You know, a lot of people here from different parts of the world have been concerned about China. And of course, being our close neighbors, we're watching how the situation unravels. India, because of its excellent vaccine coverage and the herd immunity, because we allowed infections to spread like other countries and didn't have a zero COVID policy after the initial lockdowns, India, along with other countries, are in a far better situation. Do I fear, this sort of thing happening in India again, like what's happening in China? I don't think so, because, as I mentioned, our vaccine has been very effective and the coverage has been very effective. China, sadly, has not had both of those situations pan out, and we just pray and hope that they solve their issue. In fact, I was talking to some people to try and offer the Western vaccines and Indian vaccines to them as boosters, so they can control their hospitalizations and come out of even spreading the infection.
Are the Chinese interested in your vaccine?
I've requested to them to put political issues aside and just look at the bigger picture, because for the world it's important that China comes back also. and we just wish them the best and speedy recovery, because if you look at supply chain disruptions, investments, uncertainty, people are still a little uncertain to make investments in this part of the world because of what's happening there. But of course, given that you've seen the response here, India is definitely by far the most reliable and chosen destination for investors. And given the choice, of course, India stands far ahead.
I started by asking Adar about what's happening in China, because what's happening in China from a health emergency perspective also is potentially one of the biggest opportunities for India as global companies realign their supply chains. To what extent do you think at this moment, in the way things are, is India being able to benefit from the idea that companies need to look beyond China in this China plus one strategy of it?
I think that's playing out quite favorably for India, because the aftershocks of what just happened in China, but also what's happened in Ukraine and Russia, has made organizations, global companies look at de-risking supply chains. It's no longer about cost optimization, but about resilience, managing risks, etc. So when they're looking at another place beyond China, obviously there are other contenders. But India is special because India is not just a source, it can also be a market. And with the PLI schemes and the government trying to do more to attract investments, there is certainly a strong case for investments to come into India, which you've seen in electronics and traditionally areas where we've not seen so much of investments. So I think it's a good time for India.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
By QO, European bath lounges. Let time wait.
Olympic heroes forced to hit the streets.
जो कोचेज होते हैं वो खुद लड़कियों का शोषण करते हैं, महिला कोचों के साथ में बुरा बर्ताव करते हैं.
Explosive sexual harassment charges. Khelo India spirit crushed.
बात तो हमारे पास धमकी आती है छोटी-छोटी चीजों के लिए कि आपको जान से मरवा देंगे. जान से बढ़ के तो कुछ नहीं है.
Wrestlers claim large-scale graft. Wrestling Federation mum on charges.
प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे हैं. सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट का भी सर उन्होंने एलिगेशन लगवाया कोच के ऊपर. सर क्या आप उनकी बात सुनेंगे? अनुराग सर, वन रिएक्शन सर.
Sports Minister evades question. They brought glory. Now they fear for life. Our top focus on 6 p.m.
Good evening. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal, and this evening we're kicking off a campaign to fight for our Olympic heroes, for our wrestling heroes who are, as we speak, sitting on a protest at Jantar Mantar in the national capital. They have spoken in great detail about the kind of grave injustice they face. Despite bringing so much glory to the nation, what have they gotten in response? Bullying, sexual harassment, mental harassment, and serious graft. We're going to get you details of what the wrestlers have alleged against the Wrestling Federation of India. Here are the headlines first. KCR hosts opposition leaders in key huddle in Telangana's Khammam. Mamta, Uddhav, Congress and DMK not part of the meet. State of War Northeast kicks off. Tripura to go to polls on February 16th. Nagaland and Meghalaya to vote on February 27th. Counting days for all three states on March 2nd. Tamil Nadu governor attempts to end the Tamilagam Rao, clarifies that he never wanted to rename the state and said it was a more appropriate expression, nothing else. Fresh twist in Telangana Thappad Rao. Victim reveals he was beaten by Bandi Sanjay's son as he misbehaved with a friend's sister. Two Bollywood divas wage war against conman Sukesh. Jackie claims Sukesh ruined her career and life. Nora accuses Sukesh of seeking undue favors in exchange for luxuries. And Shubman Gill scripts history, becomes the fifth Indian to score a double ton. Shubman scored 208 in 149 balls against New Zealand in the first ODI in Hyderabad.
And now,
as we get you the latest updates on the wrestling heroes who've taken on the Wrestling Federation of India, let's get you the first response from the WFI president, Brij Bhushan Sharan, who's refuted all these allegations of sexual harassment when confronted. He is in fact chosen to question the wrestlers, asking why they're coming forward now with these claims. He also said that there were no issues for nearly 10 years and suddenly there's an issue that's being created because new rules and regulations have been brought in. Let's get you highlights of what the WFI chief has said in response to the serious allegations he faces.
सबसे बड़ा जो आरोप विनेश ने लगाया है, क्या सामने कोई है? मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि सामने कोई है कि जो कह दे कि फेडरेशन ने कभी किसी खिलाड़ी का शोषण किया हो? क्या सामने नहीं होना चाहिए कोई? सामने तो होना चाहिए, कोई तो होना चाहिए सामने कि सांसद जी ने, ब्रजभूषण सिंह जी ने, फेडरेशन के जो अध्यक्ष हैं, उन्होंने फला खिलाड़ी का शोषण किया है। सामने होना चाहिए, नहीं होना चाहिए। एक निर्णय तो ये हुआ, फेडरेशन का तानाशाही वाला निर्णय एक ये हुआ कि अब फेडरेशन जो है, ये फेडरेशन तानाशाही की तरह काम कर रही है या आप? नहीं, ये जो जैसे जो आरोप है कि तानाशाही के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, इसको लेकर के सारे कोचों से बीच में मीटिंग हुई और यहां तक कि इन खिलाड़ियों को भी बताया गया था कि फेडरेशन ऐसा विचार कर रही है और हमारा वो फैसला नहीं है, हमारे जो है एजुकेटिव बाजी का फैसला है, जिसमें जो है इनका क्या नाम है, कोचों की सहमति है, अच्छे पहलवानों से भी राय ली गई है, इन पहलवानों से भी राय ली गई है, इन पहलवानों से भी राय ली गई है।
Okay, so that is the defense that's coming from the Wrestling Federation of India. Unsurprisingly, Brij Bhushan, when confronted, has chosen to question the athletes themselves, has chosen to question the wrestlers themselves. He's asking, why didn't they speak out earlier? What is with suddenly having issues right now? And even saying that if any of these allegations of sexual harassment are true, I'm willing to hang myself. Let's get to Nitin Srivastava. He's joining us live right now with more details on this. Nitin, what's the point-by-point defense response that's coming in from the Wrestling Federation of India? Because extremely serious charges that they face right now.
Well, absolutely. Wrestling Federation has been denying each and every allegation made by the wrestlers here at Jantar Mantar who are protesting here. And as you can see, I'll ask my cameraman to show you the pictures, live pictures. Sakshi Malik is here, Vinesh is here, Sangeeta is here, all the other wrestlers, they are here and they are still protesting, and they are saying that until and unless Brijbhushan Sharan Singh is being removed from the federation as president, they are not going to move anywhere till they die. So basically, the point is, Vinesh categorically mentioned that there has been instances when Brijbhushan Sharan Singh, the president of WFI, sexually harassed the women's, the female wrestlers, and also the female coaches of the national training camp. So there are so many points, but we'll try and speak to some of the athletes. Here Shakshi is with me. Shakshi, बहुत सीरियस एलिगेशंस थे, हालांकि फेडरेशन बोल रहा है कि ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
देखो, जो भी बातें कही गई हैं, जो भी कॉन्फ्रेंस में कहा गया है, वो सारी बातें सच हैं और बस यही कहना चाहेंगे कि आगे की बातें हम पीएम सर को बताएंगे जब वो हमारी मीटिंग होगी उनके साथ। आगे का जो क्लियर है, कौन है, तो वो सब हम उनके साथ डिस्कस करेंगे।
साक्षी के साथ ही विनेश भी बैठी हैं। विनेश, आपने बहुत ही जो है सरलता से सारी चीजें बताई कि किस तरीके से प्रेसिडेंट की तरफ से हैरेसमेंट का मामला सामने आया, आपको लाइफ थ्रेट भी दिया गया, लेकिन वो तो इन सब चीजों को कह रहे हैं कि जी मैं ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, मैं तो हर चीजों को क्लियर करने की कोशिश करूंगा।
देखिए सर, चोर चोरी करने के बाद ये थोड़ी बोलता है मैं चोर हूँ, वो तो मना ही करेगा ना आखिर तक। तो देश का माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट है, वो जांच करवाए, देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी हैं, हम चाहते हैं कि वो जांच करवाए, झूठ का झूठ, सच का सच सब सामने आ जाएगा।
विनेश, ये जो जहाँ पर आपने बताया था कि बहुत सारे ऐसे केसेस थे जहाँ पर जूनियर एथलीट्स का जो है सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट किया गया और उनमें से कुछ यहाँ पर भी है, ये क्योंकि बहुत बड़ा मामला बन जाता है, हालांकि फेडरेशन वही अगेन की वो मना कर रहे हैं कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।